This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
Good evening, everyone. It's Sunday night, and that can only mean it's the final word on, I'd say the weekend's action, but the week's action because we've had so many games. But we've got to win. We've actually won. We've made the Hatters mad, or the Mad Hatters, and we got a 2-1 win following, obviously, from the defeat against Bournemouth and the controversial VAR decisions that left my dad and a lot of us really pulling the rug on VAR. I'm sure we'll get into that, but we have a star-studded lineup tonight. We're going to be splitting into two halves. We've got Boston Brian, we've got Lewis. Need to get you a nickname, mate. Lewis. If everyone can think of a nickname for Lewis, it has to be L, something Lewis. Need a nickname for you. We've got Super Sutty. We've got Marvellous Manny. We've got Cheerful Chris. And we've got the Golden Girl. She's back herself, Lucy. Before we get started, of course, I do want to say a massive, big thank you, of course, to all the guys at Creation Wolf for helping sponsor and power Extra Time. The link for them is in the description below, and they do deliver the industry's and latest, most advanced digital solutions, taking your brand and online presence and digital capabilities to the next level. If you're listening to a podcast, it's creationwolf.com, but the link is in the description. And interestingly enough, I met some wonderful people yesterday down at Samosa Saturday who are actually having some work done by Creation Wolf after seeing them on Extra Time, and they're doing a lot of work for them and working together, and it's going really well. And they were really lovely people, and they were incredibly generous in donating to Samosa Saturday. And because we have got Marvellous Manny joining us this evening, we will be able to catch up with Samosa Saturday. So without any further ado, let's get the man himself on the stage. How you doing, mate?
How you doing? You okay? Yeah, I'm fine.
I think Marvellous Manny works. I like that kind of work.
Manic, probably more manic.
Manic. Well, that's another one that you could, because you're such a busy chap, mate. Listen, can I just say it's an honour and a privilege to trying to help share and tell the word about the work that you do and the fundraising that you do, and to help out at Samosa Saturday. It's always a joy to be able to, give back and see all the smiles and the generosity. And the Wolves fans, mate, they never fail to deliver, do they? Every time.
Just no words, to be honest. We go into each event with a little bit of nerves because you've just prepared, like 3,200 samosas. So it's like, I hope it doesn't rain. Will they turn up? After Wednesday, are they a little bit downhearted? Will they? Oh, man, we get to like 2:45 and it's the battle for the last samosa, and they all go. And the donations that come in, just...
Mate, I always imagine it's like a torrent of water. It starts off as a steady stream, and then it's like the dam bursts, and it's like we're like salmon trying to get up that stream, and it's just that last sort of half an hour. It's amazing, and it always really sells out, doesn't it? How much have you raised now in the end?
Man, so it's funny when we totaling up is quite a hard thing. So all the people that volunteer for it, a lot of them go back home, to count the pennies, and they take a long time. So £6,472, which I believe is like our second highest ever total, which is like, to think about the end of the season, and plus I'd only just done the marathon last week, and the walk wasn't that far ago. So you think, can we ask these people for donations again? Oh my God, they're just unreal, and so many stories, so many great people, so many people with their own personal tragedies that they've been through in life, and you can see how people are uplifted. you guys who volunteer and help. I can see the joy in everybody's face that turns up and wants to play a part. And we had a couple of new people who just contacted me the last couple of days and said, "Can I help? Can I help?" I said, "Yeah, it's yours. Most of Saturday isn't mine. It's yours. It belongs to the fans. It's run by the fans and it's contributed to by the fans." And I'm just like, sort of, sometimes just look at it and think, "Oh, I'm just privileged to be there and be a part of it also," which is just amazing. So, thank you to all the fans. And Luton fans, fair play to them. They came and
Luton
they
brought,
spread it.
fair play to them.
Yeah.
They brought quite a few fans, and they
They
were
did,
great
yeah.
in the
They
side.
spread it on all their Facebook groups. Somebody got in touch with me, and there's a fair, these sometimes you want to play glamorous clubs to when you're doing fundraising because you think automatically maybe they'll be more appealing, and but it just shows you can play little old Luton who was struggling and still have that kind of reaction. So yeah, brilliant. And yeah, I've
Incredibly
stopped.
busy 6 weeks, mate. Walking to
Yeah.
Newcastle,
Yeah.
running the marathon,
Yeah.
and Samosa Saturday 21. Incredible amount raised. I know Samosa Saturday, the marathon, obviously,
Yeah.
and the walk was for Dementia UK, but
Yeah.
the Samosa Saturday,
Yes.
all that money's been split, isn't it? I think.
Yeah. That's
between-
like 3,270 quid each to Wolverhampton Wanderers Foundation to continue the great work they do, and also Dementia UK. So brilliant to give back to the club a little bit in some of the work they do. So yeah, I think that will probably be a ongoing theme. One of the Samosa Saturdays will always try and split and contribute towards the foundation. And I just want to say, when I started fundraising with the club in mind and try and involve the fans, the first ever season we raised, I think it was £20,000 in that season. Well, this season, up to now, from August to now, we've just gone past. This is without gift aid, £67,000.
Wow.
Which is like that's like £2 for every person that sits at Molineux.
That's incredible. And mate, I hope you can have time to have a little bit of downtime now because, like you say, it's been a bit. And I was saying before, we'll hopefully get on the tennis court soon because rather now you ain't got to worry about walking to Newcastle or running and everything. We'll probably be able to get on the tennis court.
We haven't really had any weather, have we? I think we missed out,
mate,
to be honest.
You're not wrong because it's been raining nearly all the time. Hopefully we'll get a bit of dry stuff coming soon. Manny, absolutely great. We'll talk a little bit more as we go on. Obviously, get stuck into the game. You got your London Marathon.
London, class of which is another T-shirt, and it's just proud.
Do you get that afterwards, here?
Yeah, so you actually the way after COVID, you have to go like 4 days, any of the days 4 days previous to collect your number, and they give you everything then, apart from the medal, because it's just like easier for them to do rather than do it all at the end. So. Yeah, I mean, it's just, if you ever get the chance, just go and attend it. Just go for the day and just go and watch it, because what a sporting occasion it is, what a fundraising occasion.
I watched it on the TV and everything.
Yeah,
just go. And there's lots of inspiring stories and people dressed up wearing, like, I don't know, a fridge or something crazy.
Yeah, there's a guy, I sort of passed him and he was carrying an actual washing machine on his back. And I thought,
I bet he ended up all washed up at the end, though.
I actually said to him, I said, "You could have left your washing for another day, mate." You know what I mean? And it's amazing how people will go that extra bit to try and raise funds for charity and do mad, stupid things. And these ain't runners, these ain't athletes. It's just human beings who just decide to give it a go. And it's not about times. It's not about, it's just about taking part. And so brilliant event. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thanks ever so much for bringing us update with that. Also joining us tonight, yes, back by popular demand, it's the golden girl herself, Lucy, with that golden smile. Hi, mate.
Hello, sweetie pie. How are you doing?
How are you doing? You're not planning on running any marathons with a fridge on your back or a washing machine, are you, mate?
Definitely not. Definitely not. No way will these legs take that. No.
And what have you been up to recently?
Not much, to be honest. I've recently joined the gym, so I'm enjoying that.
You are training then, in training for it then.
I'm trying just to keep myself fit, nothing else, believe me, nothing else. No, it's good for mental health. I'm really enjoying it. Rather than sitting here, looking for things to do around my home, it's nice to get out and do something, and the gym is doing wonders for my mental health. It really, really is. I do suffer, and it's fantastic.
That's great. Well, Manny is, if you see his stories, he's often, doing stuff down the gym and stuff like that. You should get gym
the body and the mind does work together. And, just walking, fresh air, going to the gym, exercising. When you move, it just releases the right sort of chemicals just to take our mind away from a lot of the day-to-day stuff we go through. So, moving is really important. You talked about tennis earlier. A lot of it's a mental thing. It's not about...
Exactly why I love the tennis. It's good for my old ticker.
That's all it is. And it just takes you away from... we all need a bit of an escape, and it's very hard to escape in England because it's all bloody raining all the time. But, going to the gym or doing something or having some sort of activity, like football's the same, isn't it? When we go to football, it's that escape. So, keep going, Lucy, and it will improve and you'll get better and you'll recover and you'll learn how to cope better from it.
Yeah,
absolutely brilliant. And the next person to be joining us on the first half of the show, becoming a little regular now, is he hasn't put his Boston on today. It's just Brian, but we know it's Boston, Brian. Nice plant that you got behind you there, mate.
Yeah, sorry, Dave. I had to move.
It is a legal plant, is it? Not illegal.
I wasn't going to say that, it does look a bit dodgy, that plant.
I'm just going to smoke a bit of it now.
Honestly. I wondered why you're looking so chilled out, Brian. You're like, yeah, man. Go ahead. I don't care about VAR. It's okay.
Yeah.
Good seeing you yesterday.
Yeah, good. Yeah, good to see you a lot, Dave. Yeah, very good. And see Manny down at the Samosa Saturday, and everything like that. Yeah, it was great. Yeah. I have to tell you this though, Dave. On Tuesday, I'm taking my wife to Gatwick because she's going to Italy. She's doing one of these, like these walks that they do for, like the Camino. You'll know the Camino, Manny, wouldn't you? It's the one in Spain, the famous one in Spain. There was a film about it and that. And she's doing another one in Italy on. She did that about, I thought it was about 3 years ago, but it was actually 6 years ago. Of course, COVID and all that. Yeah, you lose track of time, don't you? But she's off on to do this Italian one on Tuesday. And I was saying to her, I was telling her all about Manny. Well, she knows about Manny anyway. But I was telling her all about the walks. I said, why don't you do? I said, he does one every year. He'll probably be doing another one next year to another football club. I said, why don't you join that? And she says, no. She says, no. Why don't you? Oh, right, okay.
Well, I just want to say this before you go on. We are planning something that every single person, old, young, whether you're in a wheelchair, whether you can walk, whether you can't, can join in. So just keep your eyes out for that.
Right, okay.
Even you will be able to join me.
Keep your eye out for that then, Brian. Right, we're gonna get stuck into the football. First of all, obviously we lost to Bournemouth. There was a VAR. I'm sure some of you will bring that up. And then we played Luton and we managed to beat the Hatters 2-1. Then Chelsea, captivating Chelsea, who does a wonderful job with the watch-alongs for us because we're at the game. She's done 6 games since Coventry or just before, and Wolves ain't won any of them. She couldn't do the watch-along the weekend. And guess what? They went and
She's banned, sorry. You find something else for her. She can...
I feel so gutted for her because to be honest, she's got people through the bad times, and she said herself, I bet they go and beat Luton, and then they do. But hopefully, they'll win the next one for her. But Chelsea, we do appreciate you doing it. I hope you had a lovely weekend, and she'll be back very, very, very soon. Manny, let's get stuck into the football, right?
Yeah.
you can talk about Bournemouth. You can talk about you can talk about Luton. We will be talking about, by the way, tonight about. I'll be asking all of our guests at some point what is a good transfer window. They'll be doing their normal man of the match performance rating highlight of the day, but we're also going to have a bit of fun because we've got a bit of a theme. And tonight, I'm asking every one of our fan punters to nominate their top 3 holiday destinations. So we'll do one at the end of the first half, do one at the end of the second half. Manny, over to you. Yeah. What would you like to say about Bournemouth and Luton?
Well, first of all, going back to last Wednesday, that first half was actually going into the game. I sort of said to my sons, it seems like a nothing match. 2 clubs that are middle of the table, got nothing to play for. They're not going to get relegated. They're not going to Europe. And it could be a bit of a, damp squib type of a game. And the way it started, actually, that's how we played, but they didn't. They turned up and we didn't. And the first half was pretty shocking. It was just players were just off the pace, just didn't look keyed up for it. It was just like one extra game that they didn't want for some reason. And it was pretty shocking. And to stay in at 1-0, for as long as we did actually really well to stay there. Thanks to, Sarr made a couple of good saves and when it's 1-0, there's always a chance, isn't there? There's always a chance you could maybe. And actually, the second half, I thought we didn't play too badly. We did have a reaction. The players that played well, were sort of dropped on Wednesday. Traore and who was the other one? But they weren't in the team. And when they came on, we were better, and then we did.
You want about Chilwell?
Yeah, Chilwell, yeah, he played well against Arsenal, didn't he? Yeah. And so did Traore. So they both came on, and we had a better look to ourselves straight away, a bit more front foot, and we undeservedly thought we'd got the 1-1, and even now when you think about the goal, it was quite right for us to celebrate that goal because there's nothing of that goal that you could see where any infringement or offside or anything that might have took place where you sort of hang back. But even that goal obviously got in the end chalked off, and then you start to question yourself. Then you think even the clear goals, the ones that are definitely being scored properly, we can't now celebrate properly because they will find something. And that just stuck in our head, and then obviously Kilman scores, and it was ruled offside for a hair's breadth, of an offside. And for me, I'm at the stage now, and I'm glad to see like a few more pundits and a few more presenters now, getting on the stage of saying we don't want VAR, it's ruining our game. Collymore been very, big on it. Adrian Durham, who's Talk Sport, said some big things about it against, the whole usage, and I'm the same. Even if it gets to 100% correct decisions, 100%, is that what we want? Like waiting around and wondering, and shall we celebrate? Shall we not? Life's about being in the moment and a bit of euphoria and celebrating with your mates, and then maybe going home afterwards and then having a bit of banter saying, oh, we got away with that, or was that offside? Was it not? Was it our game in such a bad state of affairs that we needed this formula called VAR to come in? And people say, oh, it's not VAR, it's the officials. No. So wrong. If that VAR system wasn't there, that officials would have nothing to do because the system's there. If you've got a toy, if I would give you a toy now, Dave, and it's all wired up at home, you just can't wait to play with it. And that's what they're like. They're playing with it rather than a VAR official should have his feet up and just be not bothered until a complete howler happens. And then he should be thinking, oh, what's happened
This is
here?
where it comes to the clear and obvious
and they are actually, they commentate through the whole game. So if the audio, what we hear from VAR officials goes on for 90 minutes. So they actually get, oh, he's crossed the ball. Yeah, that's okay. They commentate every little last bit of the game and then jump in whenever they want to, rather than hang back and think, there's no howlers happen, so we'll just keep sure. That wasn't a howler. It was, if it's 6 and 1, half a dozen of the other, the Cunha battling with a defender. If the referee doesn't see anything wrong with it, we're not going to get involved.
There's an argument to say there's a foul on Cunha because the guy pushes him and then he sort of does that.
Even the offside is not black and white. Is not, because a human being,
they freeze the frame.
human being has to say, this is the moment that the ball's been played, and another human being has to draw the line where he thinks it goes. So it's got a margin of error. Anything that's got a margin of error in cricket and in rugby, anything marginal then always goes with the attacker or the on-field decision. They don't go against because our technology isn't that accurate to call this, because it's a heel or an armpit or a sleeve. So just stick with the on-field decision. And if the on-field is given an offside, then we'll have to live with it. But if the on-field is given a goal, then you live with that as well. And so I want it completely and utterly scrapped. And I think the Luton game, going on to the Luton game, saw that, didn't we? The reaction from the fans, when we scored, and then hesitating and waiting for Luton to kick off before we start celebrating, in a bit of a sarcastic way. It just made that point that is what football has become. But anyway, we didn't get anything from Bournemouth. We went into Luton, and I thought we played really well. A fair reflection for me would have been a nice, comfortable 3-0 win, but typical Wolves, they don't like to keep clean sheets, and they leave you hanging on for a bit. But we played comfortably. Smado and Aitner missed, sitters second half to just bury Luton. I thought we were better than them, and we just.
I was surprised actually that they didn't have a lot, and we controlled the game a lot easier than I expected.
Hwang and Cunha, they were fighting for their lives, but we controlled it. And having them two on the pitch again, they're both into double figures. I mean, you think about Hwang, if he didn't go to the Asian Cup and he was fit for the whole season, I reckon he'd be battling for the Golden Boot. He's not that far away.
He was at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah. He
was at one point until
17,
then.
18 goals, I'm sure he would have been. And, the top scorer's only got 20. So,
and he had another opportunity earlier in the game, which he probably should have done better with.
He scored, let's be honest, he scored on Wednesday.
The odd one.
Scored on Wednesday. So,
Lucy. Sorry. Yeah.
Go on. Yeah.
Lucy, managed points. If you want to break them down, if you want to come with your views on VAR, and any points you want to make out the games as well.
I think Manny's made all the points that I would have made, to be honest. I think VAR is making the game boring. It's not a game anymore. It's not football anymore. I am sick to death of celebrating a goal. I mean, yesterday, usually we score. I'm crying. I'm a crier. I'm happy. I cry. I am jumping round. I'm jumping all over everybody. I am so excited. Yesterday, I clapped. I stood there and I clapped. I smiled, but I didn't cheer until I knew.
The bigger cheer, because people like are frightened to celebrate goals because
until I knew that goal was actually a goal, I couldn't celebrate, and I hate that. I hated it yesterday for that fact. And as soon as he blew that whistle yesterday, I thought, safe, no VAR today. That's not football. That's not what we go to that ground to watch. We go to celebrate our team, and we can't do that. And it's vile. It's a horrible, horrible feeling. I want to back our lads as much as possible. You know what I'm like, I'm loudmouth. And I can't do that apart from swearing at the referees and VAR. I can't do that, and it's horrible, horrible feeling. But I thought we played so much better yesterday. A lot of people were still down about us and, could have done this, could have done that. Do you know what? We played bloody well against a team that's been struggling. I thought we played bloody well yesterday compared to Wednesday. I mean, Wednesday was just, I want to forget Wednesday, to be honest, because that wasn't the Wolves that we know.
Very disjointed.
There was no get up and go. There was
changes, like Manny said, did make a difference. I thought from about 60, 65, just before we scored, we started to look better.
Yeah.
But, you know, as well as we'd like against Luton, we should have been 3 or 4 up. We should have been 3 or 4 down against Bournemouth.
Yeah.
To be fair.
Yeah.
And we should have robbed. We should have got a point. But obviously, it was another decision. Oh yeah, it's Wolves again. Let's just check the badge, and it goes on. Brian, you want to come into this debate, and we will be, of course, covering this in the second half of the show. I'm sure there'll be some strong opinions on it as well. You know, what's your point? What's your thoughts on the VAR?
Well, this is a great forum. This is for this, isn't it? Because I don't know if you've seen my comments on Discord before. You know, I've talked about VAR. As you know, I used to work at Southampton Football Club, and I was involved in the early set of the testing and all that when they were setting it up at the stadium.
It's your fault.
Now we know.
Yeah, but I've always defended the technology. It can get better. It can get better. It's not the finished article. But I've changed my mind now. I've changed my mind because, as Manny said, you know, we're saying, you know, it's down to the individuals and all that. The whole thing is packaged together, isn't it? You know, and it's Ian Wright said last night on Match of the Day, tongue in cheek, he says, let's get rid of it. But you know, and Gary Lineker said, well, good luck with that. Because it's not just us, is it? It's not this country. It's Europe, Champions League and all that, and FIFA, and you know, the Euros in the summer will be having it. But the thing is that I think we need to keep this momentum going now. This anti-VAR momentum going. It's our game. It's not. I said before. Owners come and go. Coaches come and go. Players come and go. The thing that stays the same in any club is us, the supporters. So we should be the most important people in football. And if we get together with other clubs and we all, you know, start a movement, you know, use the media like TalkSport.
Well, it was the fans that stopped the Super League.
Exactly.
Have a lot. Now I will come in on VAR. I don't think it's going to go. I can't see it happening. And you know, those of you that know me, and you might have seen my dad. My dad's been coming for a long time. And when I asked my dad after the match against Bournemouth, and when he's saying it's ruining football, I don't feel like coming anymore. And everyone thinks so. You know, seeing my dad like that, it's tough. You know, because it's spoiling it for him and for everyone, and it's hard. But in what works in VAR, would we agree that the goal line technology works? Because I
wouldn't call that VAR. Goal line technology is a very simple process that doesn't actually require the usage of any people. So
you're okay with that? We're okay.
Yeah, that's goal line technology, completely separate thing. It is black and white as much as it can be, and it does take, you know, the Lampard goal and all the things that have happened in the past that it takes all that out. So brilliant, absolute brilliant invention. Has no impact on the play either because it's instant, the decisions.
What's your thoughts on? Because like we know that next year, which I don't know why the Premier League didn't go for this in the first place, but they're behind the curve with a lot of the other leagues. They're bringing in semi-automatic offside. We saw this work in the World Cup quite successfully. It's basically a lot quicker. And they had the players on the things rather than drawing the lines across. That seemed to work quite well in the World Cup. What's your thoughts on that? If it speeds up the process and it cuts out the Euroman error.
The thing is, Dave, is, you know, we compare the technology to cricket and rugby, and tennis as well. I mean, it's in tennis, been there for a long time, hasn't it? Tennis, but tennis is very defined, isn't it? You know, you've got the court and
lines.
I don't think it ever gets it wrong, does it? Really, in tennis,
well, you play a point, you stop, you play the next point.
Exactly. There's natural
flowing like,
but in all those sports we just mentioned, there's natural breaks, isn't there? You know, it's like rugby. You know, I mean, it's
cricket as well.
Cricket as well. Cricket is especially in Test match cricket, it takes 5 days, doesn't it? And you know, so losing a couple of minutes here and there is neither here nor there, is it? football is a very, very active game, isn't it? It's very, action all the time, and that's what we love about it, I mean, I had some Americans come over, some friends from America come over once. I took them to a Wolves game, and we were quite low. It was actually when Fulham were playing at QPR's ground, and you know how low it is there, very, very intimate ground, and it was 0-0. but they said after the game, they said, I couldn't believe how fast it was, They said you can't appreciate that when you're watching it on the TV, and that's just it's all action, and that's the problem, isn't it? If you start stopping the game, like we do stop the game, and we're all looking around, and we go, oh gosh, like Lucy just said, can't celebrate properly. So we can't really compare it to those games where you do have natural breaks. Or it's part of the game, the clock gets stopped in rugby, doesn't it? So when they play probably about 40 minutes, it's supposed to be. They probably play about 50 minutes a half, don't they? Probably longer actually sometimes. But I mean, there was talk about having. I don't think it was. It might have been Clattenburg said. Have 30-minute hours and stop the clock every time.
Yeah, that was talk. That was something that was raised, and they do that. But I can't.
That offside thing you're talking about, Dave. Even semi-automatic offside. So in cricket, they use Hawkeye. They follow the ball. Yeah. So when the ball hits the stumps, if half the ball is missing the stumps, more than half, they'll just go with the umpire's call, because even though it's saying the ball will hit the wickets, they're saying technology still isn't that great, so we got to go with the umpire.
Right? I actually thought they
No. So half the ball misses the stumps, half the ball, more than half, it's umpire's call. So stick with whatever the umpire said, because they're admitting that our technology is good, but it can't be 100%. So that margin of error they always have. So even though it looks like the ball would have gone and clipped the stumps, they will still go with umpire's call. So that's why they ask the umpire, what do you think? Because we don't want to judge to find margins, and that's what I don't get with offside. Offside was always, if you're level, you're offside. If you always gave the benefit of the doubt to the striker, it causes more goals, more excitement, and players can play on the shoulder of, Steve Bull would never be able to play now, because he used to play on shoulders all the time. He'd never. It's all about stealing half a yard, and if you're level, you're onside, and that's what I don't get with offside. And I've said from the start, it's not black and white. If it's marginal, there's no equipment available. It's only semi-automatic. There's no equipment available. You can't put a sensor in every attacker's foot that plays the ball through to know exactly
what they are doing. They're putting the sensor in the ball.
Yeah, but it's still got a margin of error. Every technology has a margin of error. So you've always got to have anything that's marginal. You've always got to say to ref, stick with your call, because you've got to have that margin of error in everything you do. And as soon as you say, no, we're going to make it definite, then it becomes like a science, doesn't it? It becomes like a formula. Football's not like that. It doesn't work like that. It can't work like that. So I'll say, even if that come in, I just don't want it. I'd rather go back to the man on the field making the decision, because I don't think
making a howler, and we can
we never spoke about it this much back pre-VAR. We never spoke about.
To be fair, I think we did. We did. We watched it back on the TV and we saw things like that. And
but what did it take away from the game? Nothing, because we still celebrated.
That's what I'm saying.
We still had the enjoyment.
There's always going to be debate around in football, and we thought a lot of people thought when VAR would come in, that'll cut all that debate out. But there's more debate now than there was before.
It's worse. It's a worse type of debate, because it's not a natural debate.
Now the argument is they're working to improve it. The campaigns.
The Swedes have thrown it out.
Someone's put up here just now. If I can find it, I can't find it. They've said, like, when there's a VAR decision, we should walk out. I don't think that's going to work, but I don't see why we shouldn't turn our backs. Like, if there's a VAR call, the whole stadium turns our back. Turn your back on VAR. That's a visual statement, because you're not going to get people walking out. Because everyone could just turn their back whilst there's a VAR check, and that would be a real visual statement. I don't know. That's just Just to
I think
trade.
it will happen. I think eventually, because it's not just us, other clubs have like vented their frustrations. It's not just us, even now bigger clubs like, the Chelsea's and Spurs and other clubs have had things go against them. So I think, that's what it needs. What Brian says, a bit of unity. And we've seen a few high up figures changing their minds. Brian's just said he worked on it and now he's changed his mind. So we need people to call it out for what it is.
Everyone's changing their mind because everyone's sick and tired. And if you're watching on the TV, you kind of know what's going on. The experience for the match going fan is awful.
Yeah.
It's the match going fans are the lifeblood of the game. That creates the atmosphere. You kill the joy and the pain and all the reactions. And like you say, the moments, if you start killing the moments because you can't live in the moment with a goal, and then you're like, there's a collective, as soon as that VAR comes, there's a collective groan around Molineux. And here we go again. And that's what people are getting fed up with. It's like they can't.
Even when Huang scored that goal the other day.
All about emotions, isn't it?
The referee ran towards the goal net. And I thought, oh my God, what's he going to do now? Is he disallowing it? Has he ran to the goal net to check the net?
Checking for a hole in the net. Well,
let's find some sort of
holes in
to
that
disallow
net.
This goal. Yeah.
The goalkeeper went over to him to fetch him over to check the net. I mean, there's lots of holes in a net. That's the whole point of it.
Nets. There ain't a big one as far as we know. They check it before the game anyway. Lucy, you wanted to come in with something before we move on?
Oh, I can't remember now.
Got out your head.
I can't remember. It's gone completely out my head now. No, it's gone.
So let's finish off the Luton bit because I want to talk about the summer window and then get on thing because obviously I want to make sure that we try and keep it to 60 minutes either side. So what I want to know from you, Lucy, your Leamore Windows man of the match, your Fox Shipley performance rating, and your moment or highlight of the day, something that made you smile.
Boubacar Traoré, easy one for me. Absolutely fantastic yesterday, man of the match. Yeah. Absolutely brilliant. I thought they all played well yesterday, to be honest. I didn't think there was a weak player, to be honest. But no, definitely Booby. He was superb. He was all over the place. The way he jumps up to get the ball and win that ball back, he's just class. He's absolutely
got a lot of energy.
Fantastic.
He's very tenacious.
Yeah,
and he's got a fair bit of quality. And and tell you what, he will shoot. He'll have a shot, and he can't half hit it.
Yeah, and I like that. I mean, bloody hell, I won't want to be in the way of the ball when he hits it because, good God, he can smack that ball.
He was saying that, Lucy, because we were saying from our end, obviously, it was hit that one shot that he hit down the south bank, and it was like a bullet.
Yeah,
you won't want to be behind it. So your performance rating?
Performance rating, I'll give it a 7.5.
Yeah.
Very good, but there's a lot of improvements to be made. A moment of the day.
Anything that made you smile.
Do you know what? Seeing you guys and having my hugs.
Oh, that's
seeing you guys was just fantastic. And, it was a pleasure seeing everybody and just really, really good day yesterday. It felt wholesome yesterday and I'm really, really happy.
A brilliant answer. Brian?
My man of the match, I have to agree with Lucy. I mean, he was man of the match against Arsenal. You could have even argued against Bournemouth, even though he only played about 20, 25 minutes. He might have even been man of the match then. And he was certainly man of the match yesterday. He's everywhere. As you know, Dave, this thing about scanning, I call about Tommy Dawes very good at scanning.
You said Tommy Dawes got it as well.
I'll tell you now, Boubacar does the same thing. He does exactly the same thing. His reading of the game is superb. What I watched yesterday was the way he'll drop if somebody's out of position, he's looking all the time and he's weighing the situation up and he's dropping into that person's position. Like if there were one point in the first half, Semedo and Doc were going down the right, which was another thing as well, which was good to get in that game. They were covering for each other. One would go, one would drop. That's why Semedo, had a chance, because Doc was covering for him. But that wasn't always the case. Boubacar's looking at all the time. He's got the attributes, to become a mega star for us. He really has. I mean, he's tall lad. He's good in the air.
He's got
his
lots
tackles.
of energy. He's tenacious.
He's got quick feet as well. I mean, he'll do those little turns that Ain't Nori does, and he's a good passer of the ball. And as you said, he's got a great shot on him. He could be a megastar. He's not young, you know. He's not very old. I really rate the guy. Anyway, so Boubacar, yeah, definitely for me. Now, although having said that, I can't think you can say that anyone had a bad game yesterday. I can't think of anybody. I thought, did anyone have a bad game? Not really, you know. Little bit of a switch off for their goal, but I thought it was going out. You know,
Everyone did, but they should have reacted to that.
But the performance rate, I'll give it a 7. I mean, I gave the Arsenal game an 8 because of the opposition, and I'll give it a 7 yesterday once again because of the opposition. They're a bunch of triers, Luton are, but I was a bit disappointed with them yesterday. So we should really have taken them apart. You know, we had a few chances, could have been 4 or 5. You know, so I'll only give it a 7 because of that. But my moment of the day, I had lots actually. But we've already talked about the sarcastic waiting for the VAR and then sarcastically cheering. But not that. That wasn't it. It was when I can't really see, even though it's after 9 o'clock. I can't. I'll use a different word. When we started singing "Duck VAR," right? The Luton fans joined in.
Yeah.
They were below me, you know. So they all joined in. I thought that was really great. You know, it sums it up, doesn't it? Fans getting together.
Well, that's the sort of thing that unites. Manny, over to you. I want you to start this pot thing. Obviously, your man of the match performance rating. What made you smile? But also, I want you to then move into the next question, which is, what would be a good summer transfer window for you?
Okay, yeah. So I'll go with the full house on Mr. B Traore. You know, one thing Gary O'Neill has done, he's improved every single player.
Yeah.
I can't think of one player from last year that he hasn't improved. And he's improved Traore in the same season.
Yeah.
You can tell because when Traore first came in and played, he was giving away a lot of fouls. He was really eager. He doesn't like let anyone rest. And you can see how he's like learned and become a better player. And
another thing on that, Manny, when he came on, it used to take him 10 or 15 minutes to get up to speed as well, and he seems to be out and
fit,
to get.
You know what? He is also Brian's. I know he's young, but he's really fit. I reckon he could run a marathon. He's really fit, so he doesn't run it. He doesn't walk. If you look at a lot of players, even Lamina, there'll be times where they'll walk a bit of the game. It's their recovery bit where they'll walk a bit and then they'll go again. Traore, it just seems like on 90 minutes, like he was on minute 1. He is obviously very fit, and that fitness is really key because, as Brian says, to recognise positions and to recognise that you need to be there is one thing. To actually get there is another, and he covers ground very easily. So, you know, what a bonus, because we're all like waxing lyrical about Gomez and Lamina, and then about Doyle, and now having Traore. Not many clubs have got 4 players in midfield that you feel happy about. That is like, for all the wrongdoings and weaknesses in the squad, that is a strength from last year where we had Neves and Moutinho, and then maybe Dendoncker, but did he really fit in? Which position do we play him in? So we were stuck, and now we've got ever since Lamina and Gomez came in on the new year, and then he's added to that. Doyle added to that. It's been brilliant. I think, and I'd argue if someone says not improved Kilman, I'd say even though Kilman's got faults and feels probably pressures from his captaining a Premier League side, which maybe he probably didn't expect to this time last year. So I still think there's some things that even he's added to his game. He's still got a lot to improve. And still got to get better in certain departments. I think he misses like Dawson by his side, which is like, a figure you need sometimes as a defender. But yeah, so Traore's my man of the match. Performance
rating, yeah.
up until like we probably conceded, I would have given it an 8 because I think it was going to be a comfortable 3-0 victory, and coming off an absolute shocker against Bournemouth to produce.
What was your rating for Bournemouth, Manny?
Oh God!
You know what? It was about at half time. It was about 3, I think, and it raised it up to about 4 or a 5 maybe, because I thought we did play better, and it would have been a real steal. So yeah, I'll probably give it about 7.5. It was a good performance. Even they scored, we still managed the game very easily at the end.
That was one thing that I was really pleased about, because we didn't manage the game against United when we got back into. We didn't manage the game against Coventry, and we did manage the game against Luton, which was lessons that have to be learned.
Yeah. So,
and what made you smile? Moment of the day?
I mean, I can't really go past most of Saturday. We got up at 5 o'clock in the morning. Is our match day, and we started frying, and and you think about the whole day, and you're looking at the clouds, and you think, will it stop? And meeting everybody, and so many people, taking pictures and shaking hands and giving you hugs, and just putting wads and wads and wads of cash in your hands. It's like it makes you smile, but it's an emotional smile, because these people don't really know you that well, but it just shows you when you do something good, it can have a huge impact on people's lives. And that's the thing, just keep doing good. It's not about the amounts or what you do, but just keep doing good. So that just watching the fans, and for everything that is negative in life, when you see something like that, Lucy used the word wholesome, and that's exactly what it is. It becomes like everybody together doing the same thing. That is wholesome. And you see nothing then. You don't see anything. You don't see men or women. You don't see background or faith. You don't see anything. You just see everybody doing the same thing, and it all becomes the one energy. And that's what my life's inspired around that, in recognizing humans before the wrapping paper. I talk about it all the time, and those events are the types that bring humanity to the fore. So yeah, that makes me smile, and nothing can top that, to be honest, on Saturday.
Fantastic, mate.
Yeah.
And what about what the summer window? What's a good
summer window? You know what? I'm a Fosun. Obviously, have changed their tune. We know. It's quite clear they're working it a different way. Some of us are not happy about it, and we want them to work in a different way. Obviously, they're restricted a little bit, but then we see, not spending on the ground, and all the other things that they should be doing that they're not doing. So there is a concern there. We have to be really careful. You look at Aston Villa; they're going to probably finish 4th. What a season! They haven't actually got a huge squad. Ollie Watkins got injured, or it's one of their real.
I don't know if you saw that there was something out that the unluckiest team is Wolves.
Yeah.
And the luckiest team is Aston Villa.
This is what I was going to mention.
Again, the weekend.
Yeah. So you remember Nuno when we finished 7th, and it was because we kept everyone fit. Most teams, bar 1 or 2 in this league, have to keep all their players fit. Liverpool, when they lose 4 or 5 players, they look, we can get at them. United look the same, Chelsea look the same, Spurs look the same. When they lose 4 or 5 players, they all look like they can be got at. There's only really Man City and possibly Arsenal who've really strengthened, that have got something behind. So for us to lose every forward, we've never had 2 scorers with 10 goals or above in the Premier League era, and to lose both of them, and your top assist maker and your kingpin defender. I'm not saying we should have had players coming in to replace them. I'm just thinking, if another team lost all of those players in one go, they would take Salah, Jota, Nunes, and Van Dijk. There you go. There's 4 players. Take them out of Liverpool. Will Liverpool be the same? Of course they won't. So I think we have to be a little bit careful, but we definitely the forward areas and a defender maybe. Dawson is not going to get any younger. He's just got injured. You're always concerned when you're getting on a bit and start picking up injuries. So in defence, we have only kept 2 or 3 clean sheets all season. That's even though we've been banging on about goals. Now we're scoring goals.
We talked about scoring goals loads, and now we've got to start keeping a bit more out.
You've got to, when you're having a bad day, you've got to know how to just shut up shop and take the point or keep the clean sheet. So we don't do that. We do not keep clean sheets, and even on Saturday, we should have easily kept a clean sheet, but we refused to keep clean sheets, it seems.
Still managed to find a way to concede one.
Yeah, so I would have to say centre half and a forward, but the 2 main areas, and the rest of it will be down to, obviously, any changes, any players we lose, and obviously needing to replace them. We've got some assets now, haven't we? And that's the position we're in, whether it's Neto, whether it's, Ait Nouri or whoever it is. Let's, if Liverpool, Arsenal, Man United, Barcelona, if something really stupidly big comes in, then let's be realistic. We're not going to hold on to those players, and then you have to get the most you can. Even when the other day there was that link with Liverpool, I thought if that after O'Neill, which proved false, but even if it was real, if Liverpool did ring him up, it'd be absolutely mentally stupid to say, "Oh, I'm not going to have an interview." You're still going to go and see what they want. It's Liverpool, man. It's never going to happen again. So I don't think people should get that attached sometimes. We lost all those players in the summer, but yet we're more excited about the team we've got now. So
we've got a connection with the team as well now that we have.
Yeah. So we it's all about getting the right people, the right mind frame, and good humans, which seems like we have. The one thing Wolves should be utterly proud of over the last 2 or 3, 4, 5 years, probably longer, is that none of our players are in the headlines for the wrong reasons. They're not rolling out of clubs. They're not being caught speeding. They've not been, and that is a problem with when you give young people lots of money. But it seems like our recruitment strategy is to look for good, wholesome human beings as well as good players. So
which is very important.
If we pinch the likes of Doyle's, the Leminas, the Dawsons, those Gomez's in the transfer window, we'll be over the moon. All of those players are next to nothing, and they're absolute stars for us. So,
mate, I'll just make one on that. On that, we will come to Lucy and Brian in a second.
Yeah,
Totti Gomez, £900,000. £900,000. He's probably been our best defender the last 2 or 3 games, and scoring a diving header at the back post.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
£900,000, Totti Gomez.
I'm pretty sure in open play he actually nearly got on the end of another cross, didn't he? I don't know where he came from to get into the box. So he's got that added feature to his game. Yeah. So just proves that you don't. We've tried the 45 million on Nunes, the 30 odd million on Guedes, the 35 million on Silva. We've tried the big bucks. We have spent big bucks on absolute dross. So
the thing is, Manny, as well, when those players that you mentioned, you buy the money, spend the money, and if they fail, you look daft. Semedo was expensive, 30 odd. Tuna was, but they've worked. But when you're spending sort of like, up to £15 million, the risk is a lot lower. And also, when if they fail, it's like you don't have the fans going, why did you spend that much money on them? And I think a philosophy, but I do think, on the Mendes merry-go-round, we got done a couple of times. You take one on the cheap and then you take one on thing, and they have moved a little bit away from that. And it's good, not to say they won't use Mendes and his context, but we're not putting all our eggs in one basket. Lucy, what's a good summer for you? Good summer window for you?
Good summer for me is to keep Gary O'Neill for a start. Sign Tommy. That's got to be done. Get rid of the trash. I'm sorry, but
who do you class trash?
Fabio.
Yeah, okay.
Sell.
How much are you going to get it for him?
How much are you getting for Fabio Silva?
Do you know what? I wouldn't care less, just long as he's off our books. I would not care less. You know, Gary O'Neill has took on a team that wasn't his team. They're not his players. People forget this. They're not his players. There was somebody else's players. He's made them into a team that want to play for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And I praise him so much for that, because he's done a fantastic job and he's made the fans believe again. They've made us fall in love with the Wolves, but not only the Wolves, but the players. And our players are so grounded, you know, that... Oh, getting a bit emotional thinking about it. They do. They make me feel proud to be a Wolves fan. Regardless of results, regardless of, you know, the way things turn out for us.
Yeah.
Those players make me feel proud for playing the way they do.
What you've said there is absolutely bang on, spot on, what you said. I mean, I'm like feeling that, and I'm just like, Gary O'Neill hasn't even had a proper window yet. He hasn't even had a proper pre-season. And, you know... A lot of people.
I'll go back to Ryan Aitnuri just before Brian comes in. You know, last year, hood down, never looked at the fans, never ever waved at fans when he came off the coach, headphones on. Now he's doing videos with the kids and, like, you know, waving and dancing and doing little tricks. And that is down to management, because the player's the same. The player is exactly the same in this season and that season. The player hasn't changed. It's the management of that player that changes. And when you put an arm round at someone and give them the confidence and know which buttons to tick, then you get a response. Like Ryan Aitnuri goes from someone who might have left for hardly anything to people courting him for 70, 80 million quid plus, you know. So that's the proof in his managerial ability, which, let's remember, most of us doubted. Most of us. We'll have to include ourselves in it. At the start of the season, we doubted. And wow, you know, none of us, you know, when he got linked with Liverpool the other day, it wasn't even a shock to any of us, because we know how well he's done. So, you know, Lucy's right. Got to keep him.
Players believe in themselves again, and I think it's just wonderful to see. I really, really do.
Well said, Lucy. Brian, anything to add on summer window for you?
Obviously Gary sorted out. Obviously got to increase his wages, because he's not on. Well, as far as any of us concerned, he's on mega amount of money, and as far as us four are concerned. But for in football terms, he's not on a big contract. So we've got to get that sorted as soon as possible. I don't think he will go, because he's only in his second season as well. Not even a second season, because he didn't start the season at Bournemouth, did he? So he hasn't even had two full seasons as a manager. He's been a coach for a while. He was at Liverpool as one of the youth coaches, you know. So I think he'll probably want to build up his legacy here for another couple of years at least. I should hope. I think it's already been reported that they're going to get the Tommy Doyle thing done as soon as possible. You know, as soon as they can. So that's a no-brainer. If we do have to let players go, I wouldn't want any more than 2 going. We've discussed this before about Neto. Although, you know, when he's playing, he's just a joy to watch, and you know. But as we've all said before, since he made his debut when he was about 17, he's missed 50% of the games that he would have been available for. So we have got that, which also diminishes how much we can get for him. But, you know, if somebody does come in for him, we do need to do the Brighton thing, you know, and hold it for as much as we can get. But what I would like is let's see what players we can get in exchange, you know, part exchange. I've touted if Arsenal came in, you know, I'd like to see an Eddie Nketiah. You know, he's a proven goal scorer. You know, he can't get in the Arsenal team. I don't know why, because they don't really play with the centre forward, do they? You know, at the moment. Well, Jesus plays there, doesn't he? But yeah, he's a.
We could do Jesus up front.
yeah. But But I mean, the Fabio thing. I mean, I didn't watch any of the game today, the Rangers game, but I believe he was just as.
I'll tell you what, Sooty, when he comes on, will probably be able to tell us a lot more about.
Yeah, he probably watched it.
A big follower
you know,
of Rangers.
Fabio,
Yeah.
I backed him a lot, and so did Dave, and you wanted to. But man, what happened the other week with that when he fell over in the box, tried to dive when there was no play. That was the most embarrassing thing I think I've ever seen on a football pitch ever.
Yeah. Does it? Mind you, Chris Wood came very close to it today. Actually, yeah.
Oh, I didn't see it, man.
Oh yeah, well, he had a good opportunity, and it was just behind him, wasn't it? But yeah, now Sooty will probably give us a bit of an update.
Does anyone know how long Fabio's contract's for? I don't know when his contract.
I think it is quite, because when he went last year to PSV, they added an extra year on. So because obviously they wanted to protect their investment, so I think it might be 2027. He's
Jeff Shee's star boy, isn't he? That's why.
Yeah. So it's still fairly long.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
And you know, any other, like, I mean, there was talk of Aït-Nouri going to City and that fullback coming our way.
That's oh god,
what's his name? Doesn't play. Gomez. Another Gomez. Actually,
Sergio Gomez.
Yeah, that was it. Sergio Gomez. Yeah. But I mean, you can only have so many Gomez's in the team, can't you? You know, we've already got two. But I'd like to see that if we can play hardball, you know, and get something. I mean, obviously City have got so many players there, you know, but other than that, I think as Manny says, you know, you haven't got to spend a fortune. We've proven that now. So, I mean, before Matt Hobbs took over, wasn't he? He was our South American sort of guy, wasn't he? So maybe there's some that we don't know of. You know, we hadn't heard of Gomez, had we?
Even like the young kid Enzo Gonzalez, he found himself on the bench on Saturday.
He on the bench.
Someone like him, you know, might have just needed the season, and he may be, you know, people develop, don't they? They come into
and he's been out injured as well, hasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Gomez came from nowhere early into our team. He was only at the Grasshoppers and not really doing, and then suddenly he looks like a fixture in our team. Gomez came from
also,
pretty much nowhere.
He's now part of the Portugal setup as well.
Yeah,
he's an
probably
international.
he'll be in the Euros.
It just goes to show, if your scouting network's strong enough and good enough, you know, and you can identify the players, you can get good value, you know, and there's good value in the Championship as well. We should never overlook there. There are players. I mean, look at Bully. He could score every if you're a goal scorer, you know where the goal. You get better players around you. Yeah. You're going to score.
You look at Ollie Watkins. He came, you know, from the Championship, and he's like probably after Harry Kane, he could be like, you know, England's sort of saviour. I think, you know. So yeah, you can, and I think our recruitment. I think we've gone to a point now. Even though we did spend 35 million on Silva, players are always going to buy duds. Big teams spend 60, 70, 80 million on players that end up, you know, United spent 80 million on Anthony. He's got 1 goal and 1 assist all season. So, you know, I think the good signings are outweighing the odd bad one by far now, and that hopefully that if that trend continues, then I think we're not onto a bad thing. It's just that we've got to make sure that if we do lose, that the money that we get in is reinvested into the squad, and Gary O'Neill gets a fair crack of the whip. Yeah.
That's the key. I mean, they'll give them about, I think whatever they make, I think they'll give them about 70% because I'll save some back for January. Manny, let's move on just to finish this part of the show because we have got Jack, the voice of reason, Sooty, we've got Cheerful Chris, and we've got Lewis coming up in the second half of the show. For a bit of fun to finish off on, your top 3 holiday destinations and your score prediction for Manchester City.
Who's starting with me?
We'll go with Lucy first.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So Albufeira in Portugal.
Right.
Just stunning place. I went to Mallorca last year with my son. First family holiday, just me and him. And oh God, we had the best time. It was lovely. lovely beaches, really nice people. Another one, I've been quite a few places to be honest, but I did enjoy. It was a long time ago, but I went to Tunisia, Hammamet in Tunisia. Beautiful, absolutely stunning place, and again, lovely people.
Fantastic. And your score prediction for City?
3-2 Wolves.
Oh my! Can you imagine?
Have you watched them today? Why not? 3-2 Wolves.
I love the positivity. Brian, over to you, mate. Let's start with your holiday destinations.
Yeah, I've been to some exotic places, but I don't really want to talk about those. I'd rather talk about the places that. But south of France, I love the south of France. A particular place called Marseille, not Marseille, Marseille. It's by a place called Sète. Beautiful area, you know. Just love it down that area, you know. Scotland, I love Scotland. I did the NC 500, the NC 500, the North Coast 500, 500 miles around the north coast of Scotland is just stunning. You know, it's just stunning. And my third one, I'd say, I'm thinking about America actually. Two places I really like there, but I've been all over the place. But I think Boston actually. Boston's a really interesting city. Yeah, it's very
tea parties.
Yeah. It's it's a very much a sports city. You know, I mean, they've got fantastic. You know, they've got the Celtics, the basketball team. They've got the Patriots, and the American football, and the baseball team. Gosh, what they call now? Red Sox.
Red Sox, close.
Red Sox, yeah. And it's a very much a sport orientated city, a bit like Melbourne is in Australia. But yeah, that's my three places. Yeah. What was the other question?
Well, the little one, score prediction for City next
score
week.
Prediction. Oh yeah. Ooh, gosh, I hope and pray Lucy's right. I tell you, that'd be great, wouldn't it? But we have done it before. When Traore scored 2 goals. Nuno did a master job, didn't he, on City? He almost did it today, you know. I mean, I thought Forest played really well today.
They did play well. Yeah. City were a bit off it, though, because I think they played on Thursday, so they're a little bit off it, but they still got the job done in the end.
Are they playing midweek this week as well?
No, they've got a full week.
They're not. Okay.
They're out there yet. They're not in the Champions League. They got knocked out.
Yeah. I think we 2-2. I'll go for 2-2. 2-2. 2-2.
Okay, 2-2. Interesting. This is the positive side of the
of
the break. Manny, come on, this is going to be interesting. Your top 3.
You know what? This is a fact. Since 1998, apart from going to India 5 times every single year, I've only actually been to Rhodes. I haven't been anywhere else apart from, you know, when we went to the European away days, which were early holidays. I went to Espanyol and, you know, Turkey and that. I've actually, so I spend a lot of my time in India. For me, my holiday is peace of mind. I'm not a beach person. I'm not a pool person. I'm not, you know, it's where I get peace of mind. And I do a lot of volunteering and charity work there with young kids who, you know, absolutely have nothing, and I mean nothing, but they give me everything from having nothing, and because they still have peace of mind and still know how to be joyful with what they have. So I go to the north of India, which is about 200 miles north of Delhi, which is only about 3 hours drive from the lower parts of the Himalayas. It gets very cold in the winter. And we've got our place there, so my parents spend a lot of time there, and I'm going in a couple of weeks' time as well. I'll be missing the last home game of the season, so that's where I go. Apart from that, I'm you know, I love just going to local places where I can get high. So you know, like the Malverns, or going to Wales, to some of the, you know, the places in there. I mean, we're not that far away. We're looking in the Midlands, an hour's drive, we can actually be in some nice places where we can just find a bit of solace and a bit of peace. So yeah, so for me, that's that's where I go. I'm struggling to name. I mean, I've got family who live in California. I'll tell you a story about California. So my mum and dad are there at the moment because my granddad is 95. I was speaking to him on the phone today because he's fairly poorly at the moment. He was in hospital, but he's back home, and he's not got all his senses at the moment. But I was talking to him, and so my three uncles, my mum's brothers, and my granddad live in California. And famously, many years ago, when I was about 20 years old, I sort of said to my mom, how the hell did your three brothers get California and you got Wolverhampton? And so they sent me. So my mom and dad sent me to America to live there. So I lived in California for 3 months nearly, and with the premise of like we were all going to go and move over there. We're going to move from England. My uncles were going to help us, set up and settle down, and then my mom and dad was going to join us. But they wanted me to go there, and I absolutely hated it. And you know why? Because there was no Wolverhampton Wanderers. That's why that's what you started missing. You started missing the football, and because I was only 20 and football was your life as a young kid, you played it, you watched it, you knew nothing else but football. You went there in the wilderness because it's right central California in the farming wilderness, and I thought, wow, I've got to go back. I've got to go back to watch the football. So the football brought me back when I was 20. So but it is a stunning place there. But yeah, so for me, let's go. I'll tell you what, if anybody wants to give me any ideas, because I'll just show you something. I've actually still got this from Anton Deck Saturday night takeaway.
Oh yes.
I won takeaway getaway. So we've won a holiday for 4, and they've given us 70 destinations to choose from. And we got till next year, May 2025, I think, to like take it. So we still haven't decided. We don't know. We're all still having because I'm pretty clueless, and I want somewhere that's not just a pool and a beach. I would like a bit of history. So yeah, I'd love to.
Any ideas for Manny?
Any ideas where I should go?
Chat?
Yeah, let us know, and I'll let them know, and we can book our holiday. So
Italy's nice for culture. I've got to say.
Italy, you know what? That's the one I'm leaning to. Right from the south.
Emma really loves Rome, and she'd
have you heard about Calabria? Is it Calabria?
Oh, I don't know.
It's the south tip of Italy, old Italy, and I've looked at it, and it looks absolutely stunning. So
there's some really lovely places.
Yeah.
History though, Rome's amazing. It really is. You've got the Vatican. You've got obviously the Colosseum. You've got all the ancient Rome. There's so much. The Pantheon, the Spanish Steps, Forum. And we're hoping that we get back in the Europa League and we draw Roma at some point. We can do that in as well. And finally, Manny, your score prediction for City?
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with the positive half, because we did the double over Spurs, and we're on for the double over City. I've predicted that it's
and Chelsea did the double.
I have predicted that it's going to be Arsenal's year finally. Even though City are like a juggernaut, and even when they don't play well, they churn out result after result. Arsenal is sort of doing the same thing. They're just churning out results. So it's like neck and neck, and it will be the first person that blinks. And I don't know, maybe we've got a role to play, because by the time we get to Liverpool, I think Liverpool will be out of it. So this might be, he's just named it Calabria. That's what I'm looking at. But anyway, I'm going to go for backs to the wall, defend, attack, Matheus Cunha, goal. We'll look at the screens, no VAR, and then we all go mental.
Loving that. I'm loving that. Guys, absolutely fantastic first half of the show. Again, a big thank you to, of course, Creation Wolf for powering the show. Manny, amazing work, mate, from all of us. Well done on everything. I hope you get some downtime, and I'd say you're going over to India in a couple of weeks. So that'll be for you. That's kind of a very spiritual thing for you to go over there and recharge as well. Brian and Lucy, good to have you back on as well.
Thank you, Dave.
Loving the positivity. We're past 9 o'clock, so we've got the post watershed lot coming on next. All the best, guys.
Thank you. Cheers, everybody. Thank
Always
you.
Wolves.
Always Wolves.
Cheers.
What a great first half of the show that was. Absolutely fantastic. So we're going to be splitting this into a podcast into two. So we have a second half coming up. It's post watershed. I know we've got already over like 54 likes on the video. So if you've enjoyed the first half, smash a like. We've got across Facebook, the X or Twitter and YouTube. We've got over 400 of you watching live. We have absolutely what a panel coming on second half of the show. We have. Here he is. You right, Super Sooty? How's it going?
Good evening, David. How are you?
Good evening, mate. Just before we crack on with getting everyone else on, I did refer to obviously you're a big follower of Glasgow Rangers. You've been up there a few times.
Yeah.
As such, you'll probably have a bit more insight on where Rangers are with Fabio Silva and what's the state of play.
They want to send him back, Dave. They don't like him.
Because he started off all right, didn't he?
Nah, he's all right. Look, Dave, it's a different world up there. It's a bit like Championship football. That's not taking anything away from him, but there's something not right with that lad, Dave. He's not good enough. He's just not. We're going to lose big on him, Dave. Big. But I think, as Lucy's just said, I think he's got a bit of an attitude problem as well. He actually thinks that he's better than he is, and I think Daddy thinks he's better than he is as well. I would cut my losses on him, Dave. I know people say you can't just do that, but we do not want him back in our changing room.
Yeah, do you think he's a bit of a prima donna?
Yeah, absolutely. It's in the paddies. It's in the refusal to almost warm up properly. It's in the wristbands getting ripped off when he doesn't.
That ain't going to go down very well in Glasgow.
Not a chance, Dave. They will absolutely strip him like you wouldn't believe from outside in, Dave. He will not be tolerated up there.
So yeah, it's another failed loan then for Fabio Silva.
Well, the other loans, let's be honest, they weren't failed, were they? When he's gone to Holland and Belgium, I wouldn't say they were failures because it put him back up there again, and it all made us sort of almost think, can this kid actually, can he come back here and do it? Quite clearly, Dave. The 7th ranked league in Europe, i.e. Holland or Belgium, which is lower than the Championship, bordering on
what about loaning him out to Walsall? My mate would love that. Do you think he could do a job for Walsall?
It's not much worse than the Belgian league, Dave, to be honest. Probably, but I want to get rid of that 80,000 pound a week wages, Dave. That's no good for us, is it?
No, he's got to be getting him off the books. Sooty, absolutely brilliant to have you on. We've also got your partner in crime coming on. It's cheerful Chris, looking as cheerful as ever. And Chris is trying to outdo Brian with the plants.
Yes. It's not weed, though.
That is a very nice plant that you've got going on there, mate.
Yeah, we've actually got another one. They're not my plants, Dave.
How are you, mate?
They just coexist in the same space as me. I'm all right.
Fantastic. Chris, you have been really good this year, actually. I mean, many times we've been going to a game, Tottenham, City, that everyone's been doom and gloom. and you've gone, we're gonna beat these, and you've called it, and you've called a few results this year. But it was a bit of a one saying that we weren't going to win another game for the rest of the season when we got like 6 games to go. But I could understand why you did. But we did. We have got to win. We beat Luton. So I guess that's one prediction that you're quite happy that's not come to pass.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. Sometimes you get it wrong. I'm happy to say I got it wrong. I don't think after 15 minutes on Saturday, I thought I was getting it wrong because we again. Jose Sar's kept us in the game. 3 great saves he made in the first 15 minutes.
He's a great shot stopper, isn't he, Jose Sar?
He was the same against Bournemouth, Dave, and he actually set a goal up yet on Saturday. People haven't really mentioned it. He actually, for once, kicked the ball straight out to from an early kick and released the ball, and away we went.
Absolutely. Niall thinks you're growing a triffid, mate. But if you are, be careful of them because they eat humans. So yeah. I hope you're not.
I'm not human, though, so it's okay.
Right, we have joining us as well. He's back. It is the voice of reason himself. Jack, how's your health? Are you looking good this week?
Yeah, I'm okay at the minute. He says, coughing, yeah. Yeah, I'm okay as it stands, yeah. So
for those that don't know, you have Crohn's, don't you? Which can be debilitating.
Yeah. It can be, yeah. You kind of get used to kind of knowing your body and you know when you're going to have a bad day, when you're going to have a good day, and you just kind of learn how to manage it, really. And as long as it don't affect my ability to come and support the boys, then that's all that matters, isn't it? So,
absolutely. And, you've got a big meeting coming up soon.
Yeah, this Tuesday. Yeah, we've got the next.
Jack's you're on the fans advisory board.
That's right. Yeah. Representing obviously match day group
because Mr. Chairman Jeff himself.
Yeah, he's personally requested to kind of attend, so we've had to kind of shuffle the date around a couple of times to make sure that his diary's free, so he can come and speak to us about certain issues, including VAR, which obviously I've heard you're having a heated discussion earlier, so it's obviously good to collect people's views. And again, if anyone in the chat wants to kind of put something that's really important to them, and I can kind of get that across as well, because I'm collecting a lot of views from all kinds of people on VAR, particularly from the perspective of fans. So get your comments in. Just to
if you can explain to everyone who might not know what the fan advisory board is, Jack.
Yeah, so well, the way that Wolves do their fan engagement, they have a lot of focus groups. So, for example, me and you are on Matchday Experience. Yeah. There's a ticketing group. There's a retail group. There's a disability and diversity group, isn't there? And EDI, that's the one. Yeah. So, and there's a representative from each group, plus the Wolves 1877 Trust, plus there's an independent member as well who's not part of any sort of groups, and just one of us from each group, and we sort of sit with Matt Hobbs, Matt Wild, Jeff Shee this week, Russell Jones, James from the ticketing, Steve who's stadium manager, and they just kind of talk to us about kind of the strategies of the club and how they feel it should be communicated to supporters. We then feed back to our focus groups and say, this is what the plan is. How do you think that would go down? Any initial concerns? Anything that you'd like us to go back to the club with? And it flows quite nicely between the two. So we can propose stuff for the agenda, and we can say lots of fans want us to talk about VAR. Can we get that on the agenda? Lots of people are asking about ticket prices. Can we get that on? But also the club will come to us and sort of say, we've had a discussion around kit, for example. Can we have a meeting and show you what we're thinking? And you guys can talk about whether that's something that would go down well, something that would go down terribly. And if so, how do we then push forward with that in a positive way? So it's all about sort of engagement, and a lot of the sort of communication that comes out from the club. There's no such thing as a throwaway statement anymore in football. It's very, very sort of managed and to the point of every single word is kind of well thought of. So it's kind of, there's a lot of it involved with that, really, where it's kind of, this is what's going to happen. How do we then get it across to the fans? So the fan advisory board plays a big role in that.
And it's one of the key things that most clubs have got to have one of these now, because it's all about the fan advisory board protecting the heritage, such as the colours, the ground, the name, things like that, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And also things like FA Cup replays, because I know that's caused a lot of conversation in football, hasn't it? So again, that's something I've asked if we can have a conversation with in this meeting to kind of find out what Wolves' position was on FA Cup replays. Did we vote to scrap them? Were we consulted? That kind of thing. So again, and that's something that the club can then put out to the fans and say, you know, this is our position on it. So yeah, there's a lot of sort of important things in football that fans have every right to kind of have a say, and also have every right to know their club's position. And if we can get that and help the club do that, then it's worthwhile exercise.
Absolutely. And so, guys, if you have got any, we've got like over 400 of you watching here at the moment. We're up to over 73 likes on the thing so far. So if you have got some things for Jack, and you want to ask Jack, I mean, is that all right for people to feed back to you tonight?
Yeah, absolutely.
On the chat? You can make some notes, and also, you know, that would be really good. There's a few things obviously coming up, Jack. VAR. The perceived corruption, exposing how corrupt the officials are. The ground is another one coming up. There's another one about increasing the capacity of Molineux Stadium. Again, another one with the ground. Buying the players for the first team only. I'm not sure whether that would come up under the thing, but FA Cup replays, all that sort of stuff. So yeah, bang them in there if you put them up, and I'll put them up onto the screen. And obviously, some of these subjects will come up anyway during the course of the thing. And our final fan pundit tonight is Lewis. How you doing, mate?
Hi Dave. Hi everyone. I'm okay, mate. Yeah, are you?
Yeah, thank you very much for waiting so patiently. It's always good to have you on, because you do give us a lot of really great insight as well. Lewis does need a nickname. So this is the point in time. Lewis, if we get any nicknames, it has to be an L. We'll put them up on the screen, and you can see if you like any Lewis, any nicknames and stuff like that you can come up. But another one here, Joe said, get rid of Castor. Well, all I can say is nudge, nudge, wink, wink on that. I'm not going to say anything more. But read into that what you want. So, yeah, it has to be an L. It might be cream crackered. Learned Lewis is one that's coming up. That's quite an interesting one. Sooty, let's start with you, mate. Let's start with you. It's after the watershed. And by the way, Sooty is rocking a very nice Elise. Is it Elise? Tracky top tonight. Very smart indeed. Love it, mate. What comments would you like to kick off with, looking back at Bournemouth and Luton?
Bournemouth. Shite, Dave. 90 minutes of absolute dross. I'll give it a 3. And that's about it, Dave. It was shockingly bad. But let's be honest. It can only be expected due to lack of depth. You'll be sick of me saying this, Dave. I can't speak of anything else at the moment, but the depth in this squad is so poor. 1 to 14 is very good, but as soon as you 1 to 14 get injured, there is pretty much nothing. So you're reliant on kids who play under 23s football, who I've openly criticised on it. I don't think any of them will make regular Premier League starters.
You're on about the academy.
Yeah. So, but that's not their fault, Dave. That's the powers that be's fault for relying so much on such a small squad. This was inevitable. It's overachieved massively. The manager has done he's doing a fantastic job. And as I've said earlier, biggest thing this summer is tying him down to a quadruple year salary contract. Make sure that the circling vultures don't come in and try and tempt him away. But you've also got to give him a the remit to be able to build his own squad, that he gets time to gel together without the excuses of Euro 2024. Oh, I'm sorry, it's so late because of the Euros. That is a bullshit excuse. They should know who they want to sell now, right now, because if they don't, Dave, they're stupid. So yeah, Bournemouth was bad. Yesterday was much better, but likewise with Chris, I thought we were just on a downward spiral. They're tired, Dave. They have been absolutely flogged to death, and to get anything for the rest of this season, we're safe. But this shouldn't be, Dave, now a remit of whether Gary O'Neill is manager or he isn't manager, and whoever comes in next. The remit must not be keep us in this league. The remit must be we must build on year after year and not just accept mediocrity, because this isn't a mediocre club. This is a big football club, so we should be having a bigger mentality to try and actually win things and compete across the board, not just, oh, we can beat Man City every now and then. We should be looking at being a top 7 club,
100%,
getting in the Europa League, the Conference League. I'm not saying we've got to get in the Champions League, because I think that door is firmly slammed on a special few clubs. And we'll do very well to every now and then maybe flirt with it. But they have got to change their mindset and start putting this club back on the map. Because don't be fooled, Dave. They have let us go a little bit here, and they've let us down as well.
Mate, first of all, can I absolutely 100% agree with your sentiments? We should not be settling to finish between 17th and 13th or 12th and stay in the thing. We're a team. Wolverhampton Wanderers are a team that are steeped in history, founder members of the Football League. We've won everything going apart from the Premier League, but we have won the top division more than, 2 or 3, 4 times. I think it's the FA Cup 3 times. Anyway, we won everything. We have got so much history. We've got distinctive colours. We've got, all of that. And we're back. Thank you to Fosun and everything, getting us back into the Premier League. And the first couple of years were amazing. The European tours were wonderful. Obviously, the pandemic came down. They've made mistakes, big mistakes, and we've gone backwards. Gary O'Neill has done an incredible job this year, 100%. We talk about the bad luck with injuries. We talk about the VAR. We would have been a lot closer. But what he's done is set a benchmark wherever we finish. And we have got to make sure that we give Gary and the playing staff and the coaches the best opportunity to improve on that benchmark for next season, which is why this summer is so important in terms of, we all realise that we're going to lose at least one of the real top players. But if we get top money, possibly 2, depending on what happens, and we might not. But we've got to get the right players in, and we've got to strengthen the squad depth, and we've got to be in it. I mean, I think they were in it to win the FA Cup. They definitely went for it. I don't think you can say that they didn't. They just, had the injuries, and then we didn't manage the game against Coventry. And you saw against United what Coventry can do when a team's got nothing to lose. They're a dangerous animal. But we should have still managed the game out. Realistically, we can only win 3 trophies: the Premier League, the League Cup, and the FA Cup. We're not going to win the Premier League unless, you could do. It could happen, but it's unlikely. But the League Cup and the FA Cup, for a team like Wolves, who's not involved, especially in European competition, why can't we have the ambition? So 100% with you. And Jack, I think this is a point that you need to be making at the possibly at the fans advisory board, that the fans don't expect mediocrity. They want to see a pathway, a plan, the ambition that we have got aspirations to take the club forward on the pitch as well as off the pitch, such as the stadium and the development and all that sort of stuff. I think that's very, very important. So some great points to start with there, Sutty. Chris, do you want to come in on that?
Yeah, I agree with Keith. You know, this is not the summer to rest on our laurels and think everything's going okay. We'll just carry on as we are. This is a pivotal summer. We've got to first secure the manager, because he will be courted if we don't do that, and we've then got to back him with and give him the investment that he needs. And I think he's proved that he deserves that this season. Whether it's 1, 2, or 3 of the big names that move on, I don't think I'm really fussed, as long as the majority of that funds is given back to him for him to put his Gary O'Neill squad together. I'd live with that if that happened. You know, I'm not one of these that thinks we'll start one and just improve it. I think they made the decision. It's proving to be a wise one now in terms of his appointment. So it's now our time as a club to go again. If we don't, then I fear what's going to happen. So let's hope that's what we do. That's really the message that I want to say to Mr. Shea, if I've got 2 minutes to bend his ear.
Well, so Paul Harris has said 18% drop in attendance on Wednesday, very significant. I can see where you're coming from,
Dave,
Paul.
but there was no Bournemouth fans.
That's the point I was going to make. Bournemouth, had the quadrant and, didn't bring very, very many. So that's straight away a big drop off. It's a Wednesday night, 3 games in a week. That's going to have a significant impact. So you can't really pick up on that. At the end of the day, we played Luton at the weekend and there was nearly 32,000 in the stadium, and that's against Luton. So that's where you would look at a midweek game when you've had 3 games against a team that's not bringing many. You're going to get a drop of, like what you're saying, Chris, you're going to get a drop of attendance. Jack, coming back on Sutty and Chris, and then we're going to come to you, Lewis.
I completely agree. I think what's important is that we all kind of got on board with what we did last summer eventually, with kind of getting in line with the FFP/PSR, and the appointment of O'Neill didn't go down well initially, but actually he's proved to be a very capable, young, dynamic coach. So actually we're in a position now this summer where we can actually kick on, because let's say we finish 12th this year, we finish 12th next year, it's not as impressive an achievement as this year. And so, and there's the old saying, isn't it? If you stand still in the Premier League, you're actually going backwards.
Yeah.
So I think we've got to be improving year on year. It's difficult, and there's a couple of factors in play, some which we can't control. The VAR, for example, has robbed us of however many points you want to call it, 8, 9, 10, whatever. The injuries, but as Sutty said, you can plan for that. Last summer we brought in 4 first-team players and let 13 go. So there's your 9-man bench gone over last summer. So this summer you've got to bulk up that squad really properly. Not in terms of, the Enzo Gonzalez and Noah Lamina, as good as they may be in 2, 3, 4 years' time. First-team, experienced players to come in now and have an impact. If you look at some of those players that we let go last summer, the likes of Diego Costa and Raul and Adama, none of us at the time were kind of going, oh, that's a dreadful decision to get rid of them. And we kind of understood the financial. But we'd have loved Diego Costa when it came to that Coventry FA Cup game and some of the games we've had since then. It's that kind of thing, isn't it? Hindsight never loses. I understand that. But I do think we've had to suffer a little bit this season for the financial reasons, which, have been explained and we've gone through. But those excuses have gone now. Yes, we've still got to be a little bit mindful of the rolling 3 years, but I think we're in a much stronger position now. And I think Gary O'Neill's proved what a good coach he is in terms of improving players. I think Matt Hobbs has proved he can recruit smartly when given funding. So I think you've got to be cautiously optimistic. But I think, like you say, the excuses aren't going to be there this summer. And particularly I think Sutty's made a great point about the Euros. I mean, I remember when I was in the last days of the fans' parliament before that got sort of shelved, Kevin Thelwell used to use it as an excuse all the time. Oh, it's going to be a difficult summer because of the Euros or the World Cup. Well, hang on. We're scouting players every single day of the week, and we've got portfolios and dossiers on hundreds of players. So just because they're playing in Germany in an international tournament, that's not an excuse to not sign them. It might be more difficult to get the medical done and that kind of thing, but you still got to get those deals done.
And you've also got like South America, the Asian market, Africa as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, so I think that the
they won't be playing in the tournament in the Euros.
Exactly.
So their players are all
exactly. Yeah. So I think that there's a lot less excuses, if you like, that this summer. We've got to see genuine ambition shown, and it's simple things. Like just give the ground a lick of paint and sort out the Sir Jack statue, because that looks a bit of a mess at the minute, and just little things like that just show that they care. And then you can build in the squad recruitment and things like that as well, which is another sign, isn't it? And then all of a sudden, I think the fans will go along with it. I think everyone on this thing and everyone in the chat room will all, we want what's best for Wolverhampton Wanderers. And I do think deep down, I think the people running it do as well, but they've just got to go out and show it in a really clear way now this summer.
Yeah, I mean, actions speak louder than words.
100%, yeah. 100%.
On the liquor paint, from my understanding, they've got a contract that rolls or something, and I think that is part of the plan for this year. However, there are certain points in the why do you have to wait 2-3 years to have that done? If there's an international break coming, how long does it take someone to come and put some paint on it and pay for that to make it look good? Because as fans, we go to certain grounds, we go, right, blooming hell, what an absolute state that ground is. We're proud of our stadium. We don't want people coming and look at that. It's not been painted for 2 or 3 years. It looks dire and dull. You want your stadium to, when people rock up, to look good. I mean, we Jack, the stadium, Steve Bull stand and stuff like that is not great really for the supporters that sit in those stands. Another contentious issue that's going to be brought up is the cost of season tickets that are going to be coming up soon, and people, probably will be an increase. It's very, but like you've seen the likes of Fulham, or Forest has gone up 25% or something like that. People won't tolerate that sort of increase. They're pricing the normal average fans out. We know prices go up, and there is and ticket prices go up, but you've got to at the same time and go, this is what we're doing. We're invested in this. Your money's going here and stuff like that. We've talked about PSR and FFP and all of that, which is obviously on the playing side, but investment in infrastructure doesn't come under all that sort of stuff. So fans look at it and go, yeah, we see your argument with playing, but why haven't you done something over here with this? And these are the things why people get disillusioned. And, I'm sure that you'll be pushing these points home. And hopefully they'll understand, they're human beings. They will understand that as well. Some great points. Lewis,
Dave, if they've got a contractor already appointed for doing this painting, I hope it isn't the same person that painted Jack Hayward's statue, because they turned Jack Hayward into Data from Star Trek. It doesn't even look like Jack Hayward anymore.
To be fair, yeah. That's a fair point. You could say he does look a little bit like Data out of Star Trek if you've seen Sir Jack, which is when they painted it, but like he's got a very bronze Data-like face. So it's a good point. Lewis, you've obviously been listening to the first half of the show. You've listened, obviously, to Sutty, Jack, and Chris. You're a young lad. Let's hear your thoughts on all of these subjects that have been bandied around tonight.
I think you can split up into two things really. You can the infrastructure of the club and the things the club can do to make the stadium better and work. That they can spend money on this season. You've got the squad that needs to be invested in over the summer. They're quite separate, and there's different people will have the different responsibilities for that in the club. But I agree with everything that was said. Really, I think the stadium is not great. The condition isn't good, and again, this is something that could be solved tomorrow. They can go and do it. They can spend money on it. It's a big task, but there's nothing stopping them in the same way that we're restricted to go out and buy players on the kind of sporting side of the club. And I think the small things really can go a really long way with fans. And I think if you can improve small things consistently, then the big things will all come together, because you took the little steps to improve them. And I understand a lot about the paint because it doesn't look good. I think it's a very small thing in the grand scheme of things of the club. The way the stadium is painted, but it still matters. It still needs to be done right. It still needs to look good, because, like you said, Dave, people come to our stadium and they're not impressed. I visited some stadiums this season. I've been very impressed. And yeah, obviously I go to every home game, and as a Wolves fan, I'm always proud with the stadium. But yeah, I can understand as maybe a neutral person going to Molineux or an away fan, you wouldn't look at that stadium and think this is top 10 stadiums in the league. And if you want to be a top 10 club overall and push on for Europe,
you got to look like it.
Yeah, and these kind of things, that they really do matter, and they can do stuff about this. And like I said, they've lost a lot of popularity with the fans, probably last season and this season at the start, before it became evident that their plan not to spend money was a smart choice on players, spend money on players. But these kind of things can really get fans back on side. So yeah, I think it's definitely something they should do. But yeah, again, with the kind of the players that we need to sign, I agree with everything. There's clearly a need for depth, but also quality, because we're going to be losing 2 players this summer. 2 of our top players, at least. Sorry.
And which 2 do you think we'll lose?
I think it will be Neto, and I think Sarr will leave. I'm not sure many people would have put him as one of our top players a few months ago, but the past few weeks he's come as a player who's been crucial for us. He's made some really big performances. Some of the saves he made against Bournemouth and Luton were, that Bournemouth one, when it deflected off the defender,
changed direction, great save.
So yeah, I think it would be Sarr and Neto, and there's a point maybe to be made that they're both Mendes clients, but I think we'll probably see a return of Chiquinho back to the club. So I wouldn't personally read too much into that as a way of the club completely separating itself from Mendes, because we have to realise that Aït-Nouri is also George's client, who's become probably the best player besides Neto in the past few games. Definitely debatable, but up there. Semedo has been so consistent this season, and he's probably going to hopefully they'll negotiate with him over a new deal. Otherwise, we'll end up losing him on a free the following year.
You want about Semedo now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he's right up there for player of the season for me. Semedo is so consistent. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's really been Mr. Consistent. What's a good summer looking like for you then, Lewis?
Well, I was looking through in the first half of the show. I was looking through the squad, and I kind of pulled together a quick outlook of, in my opinion, this would be a perfect summer, and I think it's tried to keep it very reasonable. There's always room to do more, but you can only expect so much. So I'll start with the out. Like I said, I think Neto will leave, and Sarr too. I'd like us to kind of recoup as much money as we could on Guedes, Sasa, Fabio, and Daniel Podence.
What sort of fees do you think we could command for them?
For Guedes, it depends, because I think in La Liga, which is where he's at,
Villarreal is at the moment.
Their financial rules are very strict. So if he was to go there, I don't think we could ask for much more than 10 to 15 million, because they won't be allowed to spend it there.
What about on an anamortification or whatever it's called, where they can pay? Yeah, they can pay it over.
Not in installments.
over so many years.
Yeah, I still think 10, 15 million is what we'll get, Dave.
What did we pay? How much did we buy him for?
30,
37 million, was it?
Yeah,
30, wasn't it?
Yeah, it's a significant loss, but he's also one of the top earners at the club at the minute. So, he'll save a lot on wages there.
Yeah.
Against Sasa and Fabio, I think maybe 10, 15 million between, for each of them. Maybe lucky if you get 15 for Sasa. But, I heard what Sutty said about Fabio doing well in the Netherlands and in Belgium. I think he will end up at a club like that. I could see him returning to Portugal, but again, they won't have the kind of financial power to pay much more than that. And he will have to also want to go there because his wages will be, significantly reduced there. And then Podence again, but I think
Olympiacos really want him, don't they?
Yeah, and obviously we know that the Forest owner is a very rich person. He can definitely afford to spend it, but he's not a stupid man. I'd say again, 10 or 15 million would be around that. So all in all, for those 4 players, 60 million would be good.
Yeah.
And that's 60 million that we didn't have, that aren't really even at the club. They're not contributing anything to Wolves. So yeah, I think those 4 and then Sarr and Neto out would not be bad outgoings.
How much do you reckon we get for Neto and Sarr then?
For Sarr, depending on where he goes, again, if he does go to Saudi Arabia, you can ask for a bit more, and you can probably earn a bit more from him. So maybe you could probably get 30 million if he goes to Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
And then for Neto, I would imagine anywhere between 50 and 70, depending on how many clubs are interested and
how he does in the Euros.
Yeah, I think that's another big thing. If he has a really good Euros and he stays fit throughout the competition, you can add maybe another 10% onto that.
So judging by what you're saying there, let's just work on the low side. Let's say we get 20 for Sarr and 40 for Neto, and maybe we'll get more. That's another 60 million. Plus we're probably going to be 15 million in under FFP in terms of our place position because they budgeted for it to finish 17th. So if we finish, say, 13th, that's another 10 million. You're reckoning that we could have 130 million pounds worth of incomings potentially just off those. And how much of that do you think you're going to go on to the other side of what you've been looking at? How much of that, and what's your thoughts on the incomings? How much of that's going to be given? Obviously, taking into account, you've got to look at the January window as well, potentially. What
maybe for the year they would give him 80 million total.
Yeah. And what do you think? What does a good summer look like then in terms of players and squad from there?
So obviously Doyle would come in for the good fee, very cheap for what you get in. Lamina, Noah Lamina too. I think it's obvious we need a striker. We have done for so many years.
Do we need 1 or 2?
Yeah, possibly 2. Because if
Trey Adams on a free.
Who saw Trey Adams? Yeah, possibly
on a free.
Yeah, I don't see a reason to go against that. I think a free is smart business as long as the wages make sense. I think obviously we'll have to replace Neto because I think in terms of wide areas we are a bit lacking. Obviously I spoke about Chiquinho will hopefully return and he'll bring a boost.
He plays a lot on the right, doesn't he, Chiquinho?
Yeah, and obviously
Mosquera.
Neto, the what? Sorry,
Mosquera could come back.
Yeah, he'll come. He's on my list too. Again, if Sarr leaves, we'll need to replace him as a number 1. But
who's the keeper that we're rumoured about getting in for? Is it the Arsenal keeper that was...
Ramsdale. Yeah, I think that would be an expensive signing. I would really like that, Dave, but I think you'd be quite costly for us. Yeah. But the money's there.
We're not going to spend that much money on a keeper.
Yeah, and then lastly, a centre back. I think we only have 4 kind of senior centre backs, and if we're insistent on playing 3 at the back as we look like we are, we're going to need another one because Dawson's probably going to be playing significantly less games this next season. And if you play 40, 45 games with your 3 defenders they're going to pick up injuries, and there's going to be suspensions as well, and you need cover in there. So that'd be my perfect summer.
Really, really interesting. Of course, Gary O'Neill ideally would like to play with the back four. He started that way, and obviously realised he didn't have the tools to do it. So he might be looking at a transfer window with a mind to try and play that back four how he wanted to play, and then have the back three as a B. Sutty, really good insight from Lewis there. What's your take?
Do you want me to start from the back up to the top?
Yeah, go on then. Have you've been making notes on your sticky notepads again?
Yeah, I have. Yeah, I'm getting rid of 7.
You're getting rid of 7. Go on then.
So I'm going to get rid of Sarr because someone's going to offer us stupid money for a good shot stopper.
Not so great with the distribution,
but not a brilliant keeper, if that makes sense.
I mean, keepers in the modern age.
Keepers nowadays in today's game, you've got to be able to play football, Dave, as a goalkeeper. Yeah. Jose Sarr will stop 99 out of 100 shots that come towards him, but his distribution is pretty poor.
We saw evidence of that as well. Although he did set up the goal,
he
kicked out a few times.
And I'm not knocking him. I'm not. No. He's been a decent player for us. So I'm going to get rid of him. I'm going to get rid of Pedent, Silva, Sasa, Guedes, Neto, Kilman. Yep. I'm going to get
Kilman.
Oh, I don't. Well, he's not a leader, and I fully expect that this man is going to turn around to us. Not that I really agree with it. I think he's got his own philosophy on how to play football. He was forced into playing a back five because we just did not have.
Which is what we've just touched on, yeah.
We didn't have the clientele to play a 4, and every time we play a 4, we do look a bit ropey, Dave. So I can't. And when you play in a back 4, Dave, you need quick centre halves, and you need one very good vocal leader. Someone that's going to shepherd that back line and scream and bark and shout, win headers, win ground duels. And we don't have that, Dave. But what I have been doing, I've been watching Mosquera for Villarreal.
You have?
Yeah. And this kid, I've watched him 2 or 3 times. And when I found out he's playing, I've watched him. He's very quick, really quick. He's not trying to get stuck in. He's good in the air. Now, if he wasn't our player, I'm pretty sure they'll be looking at him, Dave. So I'm going to bring him back, and I'm going to have a look at him. And I'm going to give him a proper pre-season, playing friendlies and everything before I make my mind up.
I think as well, Gary O'Neill has also stated he has referred to some of the players we've got out on loan that he wants to have a look at. So I think that he will have a proper look at these players.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well, if we get rid of those 7, I think that's bottom figure 100 million, because I'm not so sure people are going to pay 60 million for Neto.
Well, this is why when I was doing the calculation with Lewis, I said 40 million and 20 million. It's rather than, because as I say, Lewis made the point. It depends really on how fit he stays. If he has an absolute blinder at the Euros, then obviously
that's top end then. Yeah, but he might not even go to the Euros.
Well, yeah,
that's a thing as well. So I reckon we've got between 100 and 120 million, and there's only 2 or 3 of those that actually play. Well, 2 really, because Neto's not regular. Let's be honest. There's only Kilman and Sarr that are really regular of this season. The rest, you're going to get 100, 120 million, or I think they'll give him 80 to spend. Yeah. But for that, I want a commanding goalkeeper who's good with his feet. I don't want much, do I?
Have you got anyone in mind?
I'm not sure, Dave, to be honest, because a lot of these goalkeepers, not many. I mean, if I had my way, Dave, I'd go and get Butland from Rangers for 15 million quid.
Yeah.
Because if Sarr goes to Saudi, he's going to get 25 to 30 there straight away. You've made
10 million.
10 million, so you're in profit straight away. And Butland's been absolutely outstanding for Rangers. And before people say anything, I know it's the Scottish Premier League, but he has been outstanding.
We should offer him 20 million for Butland plus Fabio.
Well, yeah. Well, he can go for nothing. But the rest of it, Dave, to be honest, I want an out-and-out centre forward, a proper centre forward. We haven't had one for years. And Che Adams.
I think Che Adams on a free is, he's a no-brainer for me personally.
I want a winger to replace Neto. I'm not too bothered about Neto. I know on his day he's outstanding, but his day is
we only get him.
It's not regular enough, Dave. It's just we don't plan to have Neto, so when we do have him, it's a bonus. Well, he is a proper luxury player, and we haven't got the capacity to carry a luxury that's worth 40-50 million. We might as well sell him and get something that's regular and is going to do a job for us.
Basically, you think that Neto's going to keep breaking down every so often?
Yeah, but for me, he can go and break down with someone else, Dave. I'm fed up of it, to be honest. It's not his fault, but it is the way it is. When you play with out-and-out speed like that, you're going to pick up niggly little injuries that turn into big ones, and we don't have, unless we get the depth, then we're always going to have those problems. But by getting rid of these players here and signing, I think we also need cover for Nelson Semedo. So we want a keeper, a centre-back, bring Mosquera back, cover for Semedo.
A centre-back plus Mosquera.
Yeah, I want Mosquera back as well. Cover for Semedo. So there's 4. And by getting rid of all of these players here and getting Che Adams, a winger, and an out-and-out centre-forward, Dave, that will give us 4 more quality players for depth, and we'll still be 40 million quid into the good if we get the money that we expect to get, because they won't give him the full amount. We'll spend about 80 million, but we'll have a bench that actually looks like a bench and not a kindergarten.
Couple of questions. What's your thoughts on Sarabia? Paul Everett also says we've also got Hoover, Hodge, Kundle to come back, which could move on for a small fee as well.
See, for me, Sarabia, he's the one player that's massively suffered from our lack of depth. He is a luxury player. I get that. He's got very little pace. He's not going to get 50-50 balls for you, but he is the kind of player that will unlock defences. He's got 7 assists, 4 goals this season, I think, something like that. He is very, very clever. I wouldn't be getting rid of him. Because when we're fully fit, he ticks. He's almost 2 moves in front of these young kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? And it makes him look a bit stupid at times. When it's a full squad, he looks fantastic. He single-handedly won us the game against Tottenham earlier on in the season, and we need the players around him so he can unlock. But these kids ain't good enough, Dave, to make these forward runs and intelligent runs and time their runs. And he's putting balls into spaces and stood there saying, well, I'll give you the tool to do the job. You're not good enough. And they clearly aren't good enough. So
what about Chiraiwa? I thought he's probably the one that's actually looked like he could be part of a squad. He hasn't looked too bad, has he?
He will always look good on your bench. As will, we forgot, none of us have mentioned him so far tonight, but for the last 2 games, he's been the man of the match in Boubacar Traoré.
Oh, man.
So if you
he's waited a long time for his chance, and he
does look like Bambi on ice at times, and he's very unorthodox, but he's done the business, hasn't he? Let's be honest. So,
and he likes to shoot.
Yeah,
and he can hit the ball, man. We saw. Was it this season before last or last season when he hit that one from outside the area?
Against Leeds.
Great goal. Great goal. So yeah, it's really, I mean, I think he's come on quite a lot because early season he like I said earlier, he took a while to adjust to the pace, but he's definitely come on. Some really great points there, Chris, and then Jack on this before we move on to man of the match and all of that.
Yeah, I think what we're saying is we've got to be, it's a squad improvement. You know, we need to have a Premier League squad, not a Premier League 11, 12, 13. In that vein, I also think we need to have 2 goalkeepers because I don't rate a second and third goalkeeper. The fellow Tom King, the only thing he's good at is going on Mikey Burrows' bloody radio show. I've never known a first team player that constantly sits in the commentator's box. It's shocking, and it's just not. You know, they're not, the 2 of them, Bentley and him, are not, I call, Premier League keepers, and I think we need to address that, because I think if you don't, then you're never going to get your best out your first keeper because he's got no pressure on him. You know, so I think that's something that we need to address on top of everything else the guys have mentioned. I think we need to get a bit more wiser as a club. Semedo's the example I'll give. Semedo's not going to sign the contract or an extension. He needs to be sold this summer. Yeah, we are.
I think Semedo's quite happy. To be fair, I think he's fairly happy.
Yeah, but what we do, Dave, is we're paying top dollar for these, or have paid top dollar for these players. We just let them wander off. Adama, Raul, you know, it's just money down the pan because we haven't done the things we should have done with contracts. We need to be much stronger in our
to be fair, they did try to get Adama to sign the contract, and it's a bit like Shay Adams at Southampton. They don't want to sign it, and then from what I heard, from what I understood, Adama did want to come back, but then the money had been spent, and it was too late.
The Barcelona loan with him was just farcical.
Well, exactly.
You know, let a
got
player
our hands
go
pulled down there,
and you know, got nothing for it, and just wasted a year on his contract. It's just, yeah. And I have watched Fabio a couple of games, and yeah, I just don't want him to play anymore because it just makes us look more and more stupid. That's where I am with him.
Fair enough, Jack. Thoughts on Lewis, Sutty, Chris? Your anything to add to that?
Yeah, I mean, I think all I'd say is I think in terms of the ones that are going out, I think the 4 that we've mentioned, the sort of the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse, if you like, Sasha, Fabio, Podence, and Guedes. Olympiacos have got a 5 million option on Podence, so that's probably the most we're going to get really because of his contract situation as well. We're not going to get anything for Sasha this summer because he won't be fit. He'll still be injured and rehabbing. So no one's going to pay anything for him. So that's probably one to look at for maybe January. If he can get fit by then, you can maybe get something. I think Fabio, we're going to have to do a Rafa Mir and just keep loaning him out until he has a purple patch somewhere and they go, we'll pay this for you. And then there you go. Because right now he's not worth very much at all because he's not doing the business at Rangers. So I do think we're going to have to rely on some big money coming in for the likes of Sarr, the likes of Neto, perhaps Ait-Nouri if Man City's interested, genuine, and they're going to give us sort of 50, 60 million for him. Because I was talking to someone yesterday about Ait-Nouri. He'd be perfect for Man City because he wouldn't have to do very much defending at all. He could just play forward all the time, and he'd absolutely light up that left-hand side for them. So yeah, I think we can get in a little bit of money for the sort of the also rans. You got the likes of Joe Hodge and Luke Kundle and Keanu Hoover as well. You can bring a little bit for those guys because I don't think they'll quite make it. Perhaps the only 2 that will come back from the loans are Mosquera and Chiquinho. And then in terms of bringing people in, I think we do need a couple of goalkeepers. I'd like the guy at Liverpool, Kelleher. Is it the second choice? I think he's perhaps pushing to go somewhere and be first choice. I think he's very, very good. And I think he fits Sutty's criteria. I think he's a decent commanding keeper, but he can play the ball out as well.
Well, he has to be playing for Liverpool because that's how they play, isn't it?
Exactly, yeah. And I think, you know, I think the point is modern day goalkeepers, they have to be able to do it. I mean, if you look at when we played Arsenal the other week, Jose Sarr and David Raya, Jose Sarr is a better shot stopper. But if you ask me which goalkeeper I'd rather have, it's no competition at all. Because Raya can beat your entire press with one pass and he can, you know. So, yeah, we need someone who can play the ball out. In terms of centre-halves, and I'll open this up to everyone, I really liked Mengi yesterday for Luton. I thought in a really poor side, he stood out to me as someone that and I think he's England under 21, so he'll know Tommy Doyle and people. So he might be one where we look at, as well as bringing Mosquera back. I think the one thing that we need at centre half, if we're going to play a back four, is pace. And I think Mosquera gives you that, and I think that Mengi would give you that as well. That's assuming Luton go down, which I think, based on yesterday, I think they will. In terms of forward options, I'd look at Morgan Whittaker at Plymouth. I think he's got sort of, again, 20, 25 goals and assists in a really poor side. I'd look at McAtee, who's on loan at Sheffield United from Man City. I think maybe if they're going to sign someone from us, a bit like the Tommy Doyle deal, we might be able to do some business there. So I think it's about investing, but it's about being clever and being smart as well, because, we're not going to have a massive amount of money to spend. But that doesn't mean that you can't improve your squad depth and you can't bring in the right players. It's about having that good recruitment and that good scouting network, using your contacts, and as Chris said, using sort of, people coming in as part of other deals and things, if you can do that. I think it's potentially going to be a very busy summer, because we're sort of saying, we need to improve the squad depth, but also we're talking about losing players as well. So they've got to be replaced on top of the ones you want to come in to buffer your squad up a little bit. So last year we signed 4 senior players in for the squad in the summer. I think we're going to have to get to 8 or 9 this summer, really, aren't we?
Absolutely brilliant breakdown as well. And we're going to be talking a lot more about, obviously, this over the coming weeks. So make sure you do hit that subscribe button, hit the bell notifications for any news that's dropping. We're currently on 86 likes on the video. So, we just need 14 more of you to hit that 100 target. We're going to just quickly round up now by going for quickly, Lewis, man of the match, performance rating, and moment of the day. We'll get all that, then we've got the holiday bit coming.
Yeah, I think man of the match would be Boubacar. He's really had to be patient this season. Had it not been for Lamina and Gomez and then Doyle, kind of playing so well as they have, maybe he would have had his opportunity earlier. But, he stepped up. He's had his opportunity and he's really took it well. So I think really, it's fair play to him, because it's not easy to come in cold, when you've been on the bench for so long. But he's obviously kept himself really fit, and he looks like a really useful squad player for us, and someone who could, should we get to a European competition in a couple of seasons' time, he could play a big part in that when the squad would rotate. So, I was really impressed with Boubacar in both the Bournemouth game and the Luton one. So, I think the performance rating for Luton was 7. After the terrible Bournemouth game, we had to really improve, and I think that's what made it a bit better. The Bournemouth game, the Luton game, how bad we were against Bournemouth. It was really important they stepped up, and they showed that was just a one-off, and we're much better than that, and we have a lot more quality. And then moment of the day was no VAR for our goals. It was just a relief to have, no nuisances getting in the way and stopping good goals from counting.
Well said. Chris, then Sutty, then Jack.
Man of the match for Bournemouth and Luton. I agree with everybody else with Boubacar. The only downer I've got with that is it just goes to show, unfortunately, the manager's got a bit of a clanger in not giving him his head and letting him play, and burning out the rest of the midfielders, which is what's happened. I think we could have maybe utilised him a bit more, and maybe we should have had him running down the wing or playing up front, because he's energetic fella. So that's just a little bit of a downer I've got on that, but he's been brilliant last 2 games, and so I was glad with that. Rating, I think 7. I think the Bournemouth game, I'll be down at 2 or 3. I thought it was awful. It was turgid. But they played a lot better. After the 15th minute, I thought up until then they carried on as they were against Bournemouth, really. But that's where that was. And what was the last thing you wanted?
Yeah, what made you smile, mate?
Say again?
What made you smile?
I think it'd have to be. Obviously, I came down a bit later on with yourself, and we got rid of a box of samosas. They were pea contained samosas. I didn't get my pealess ones, fortunately. Manny,
I wrote you in, didn't I?
Forget about me, but yeah, you wrote me in. But yeah, I enjoyed seeing that. We had a good couple of chats with some people, and yeah, it was good to help out.
Fantastic. Sooty, yeah, I think you've already said Boubacar, haven't you?
Yeah, Boubacar, I'll give him a 9 for yesterday. Over the course of the 2 games, I'd give him 8.5 per game, to be honest, because he was outstanding in both of them. Against Bournemouth, I think he was let down by everybody around him, to be honest, because they were shocking. Match rating 7. And probably the highlight of the day, you can't take away from somebody that raises $6,500 in while he was there. Obviously, he was up since 5 o'clock in the morning frying the bloody things, but he's raising another $6,500 to worthy causes. So that'll go to our friend Manny.
Well said. And Jack, finally for you on this bit.
Yeah, full house. I think Boubacar, man of the match. I thought he gave us exactly what we needed. I thought tactically, I thought the sort of the man marking on Ross Barkley just completely shut them down as a creative force, didn't it? And sort of created very little, didn't they, all game? Performance rating, I'm going to go 7.5. I do think we were quite good yesterday. Okay, Luton didn't offer a lot, but it was chalk and cheese from the Bournemouth game, wasn't it? And I think 2-1 makes it sound a lot of a closer game than it was. I thought we should really got 3 or 4 in that second half, shouldn't we? Really, in terms of the chances we missed. Highlight of the day, I saw off the pitch. Samosa Saturday had a great chat with Manny and Dr. Paul, and then Carl, who I think's on the comments as well, just before the game. That was great. And then on the pitch, there was a really nice attacking move in the first half. Aitnuri played a little back heel to Cunha, who reboned it down the line, and that's the kind of, we haven't had that for a few weeks, have we? Just that spark and that sort of attacking energy and enthusiasm. So if we can get a little bit more of that back in these last 3 games, we might have an enjoyable end to the season after all. So yeah, I'll go with that one.
Fantastic. So we're going to go next up, we're going to go cheerful Lewis, Jack and Sooty, and we're doing our favourite 3 favourite holiday destinations and the Man City score to conclude. Going with you first, Chris.
When I go on holiday, Dave, I like to find out things, discover things, learn things. It's not all about sitting on the beach and Missy does that, so sit on there and fry. I can't do that. So after a while, I have to get the brain thinking. So the best places I've been to, we went on a great holiday to Mexico, but I actually went off to look at.
Can't hear you, Chris. Lean forward a bit. I think your sound's going a bit.
Is that better?
Yeah.
Hear me? Yeah, I went to holiday in Mexico and visited a place called Chichen Itza. And there's a film that Mel
I know it.
did, I think Apocalypto.
Yeah.
And that was a really good. It's a really good place to visit. So I enjoyed that. Then the other one, I went on holiday to Egypt and went around the pyramids and looking at all that history and the Temple of Karnak and all that sort of stuff. I love that sort of stuff when I go on holiday. And then the third one, not so much as a sunny holiday, but a visit to Normandy and a good old tour around the battlefield, Omaha beaches and all gold beaches, Juno beaches, Pegasus Beach, all that sort of stuff. There's some great places in France to go and just learn about what's happened in the world and learn from my mistakes and not do it again. So they're the sort of things I like to do on holiday.
Fantastic, mate. Really good. Those are your City score prediction.
I think I think I can't see us getting anything from that. I think we'll get whacked a little bit, but 2 or 3-0.
Okay, Lewis.
Yeah, I'm a bit different to Chris. I do like to just relax on holidays. I think for me, when I go, I like to relax, and then when I come back, then it's back to work, and the brain can go back to it then. So I would say I really like to visit Tenerife, Dave. I think it's a really nice place for English people. I think it's about quite a common place where English people go, and yeah, it's quite the weather isn't too hot, but it's sunny, it's warm. There's enough there to do as well. It's not just sitting around all day. I also visited Rome though last summer, and that wasn't a kind of sit down holiday. I went around and I looked at stuff, and that was a really good place to visit. I enjoyed that a lot. And then lastly, I would say, especially when I was younger, we used to go to Torquay quite a few times. We have a few family friends there, and I enjoy visiting there because I think to see the family friends is always good. And yeah, it's a nice place in England to visit that's here, which is good.
Fantastic. And your Man City score?
Yeah, I think I watched them today, Dave, and I think Forest had more shots than Man City today. And that doesn't really happen too often. Obviously, they played in midweek, and they were without Foden, and Edison went off, and I just don't see them losing because they're too good at this stage of the season with so much. They have so much to play for that they're going to win the Premier League, in my opinion, and they're not going to lose between now and the end of the season. So I think it will be close, but I think they'll just be strong enough and in control enough to kind of nick a 1-0 win.
Nick a 1-0 win. Jack, your 3 and your score?
Yeah, I'm quite similar to Chris. I like a city break. I like to go and base myself in a city centre and explore, go out and sort of see the sights and the culture and things. So I went to Prague very recently, in February. Prague, that's amazing.
Did you go up the hill and into the museum at the top of the hill and everything?
Yeah, absolutely. And Prague Castle, and we sort of went to see the astronomical clock and different bits. Yeah, beautiful. And
fantastic.
It's such a great city as well, so a really nice vibe. I'll echo what Louis said about Rome. It's a great place to go. We went last summer. You want to see the Colosseum and the Roman Forum and all those kind of things. That was great. And then Vienna's really nice as well. That's kind of one that is a bit of a hidden one. Not many people go there, but again, that's really nice. And it's a little bit touristy, but there's also a lot of sort of hidden, sort of quite quiet bits as well that you can kind of discover for yourself. So yeah, I'm a big fan of a city break. I'm not one of those people that can switch off really. So a beach holiday doesn't really work for me. I'm just sort of sat there going, I could be doing this, I could be doing that. So yeah, I'll go off and take myself off and explore and things. So yeah. And then in terms of Man City, again, I think Louis nailed it. I think they're just too good this time of the year, aren't they? I think it's the wrong time to play them. I do fancy us for a goal. I think on the break, I think we'll be able to cause them a couple of issues. So I'm going to say I think they'll probably have not a little bit too much. They'll probably have too much for us. So I think I'm going to go 3-1 Man City, but I think it'll be similar to Arsenal. We'll have a lot of positives to take from it.
Nice one. And finally, to finish the show, Sutty, over to you.
Well, I'm not really one for wasting time with long haul flights, Dave. I think I can't be bothered with it, to be honest. Don't mind flying, but anywhere in Europe, favourite place is probably the north of Ibiza because it's quiet. And then Albufeira, right at the southern tip of Portugal, and then sort of Greek islands. But unlike the top two blokes here, I get my Wolves beach towel out, Dave, and after I've done a 5 or 6 mile run in the morning in sweltering heat, I will jump in that pool and willingly lie on that sun lounger all day.
Like a lizard.
Yeah.
Just soak it all up. And your City score prediction?
I think we'll lose 2-0.
2-0. Fantastic. Listen, it's been an absolutely great show. I do try to rotate it round each week, but I will try and see whether we can definitely get Jack on next week again. If he's able to tell us a little bit from the Fans Advisory Board, because I'm sure people will be interested in that, and it's something you can say that you're feeding back as well. Jack, I've seen you taking quite a lot of notes. I guess these subjects are a lot of the ones that have been coming up anyway.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I've sort of written down. Someone asked about Steve Bull standing there. Someone mentioned catering, kits, VAR, FA Cup replays, ground improvements, TLC for the stadium, that kind of. So yeah, I've written down lots, and I know you've got like a group chat, haven't you, as well? So if anyone wants to message you, Dave, and then you can forward it to me, or however that you want to work that, and then we can get that done.
Fantastic. Absolutely brilliant. Guys, thanks ever so much for thinking. Again, just to finish up with a big thank you, of course, to Creation Wolf for powering the show. The link is in the description below. And just to remind you that I'm just going to share a screen for you. You can still get your tickets for Wolves Wembley Wonders at the Grand Theatre, which is the 1974 squad. If you just go to search Wolves Wembley Wonders Grand Theatre, you'll find it. And that's taking place on the 14th of May. So make sure you do check that out as well. And I hope you've enjoyed it. It will be going out twice. We'll have a first half and a second half going out. The first half will go out on podcast tomorrow. If you want to listen to it back in the car or running or whatever, the second half will go back out the day after. And of course, loads of you will watch it back on catch up. From all of us to all of you, always Wolves.
Always Wolves.